Well, it's a good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and it's a very big welcome to the start of the 2025 Speedway season here on Oxford TV. Today we are really excited to bring you the first of our live streams of the year, as tonight the Oxford Spires entertain the Killeen Stars in the second leg of the Premiership Knockout Cup, as they look to overturn that 16-point deficit from the first leg at Saddlebow Road on Monday evening. The Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium welcomes everybody, and as you can imagine, Peter Schroeck, well, he's on the offensive. He's come out and said 2 or 3 5-1s, 4-2s early on, and Oxford will get themselves back into this. Rob Lyon, team manager for the Killeen Stars, well, he's not counting his chickens. He knows that they've got some good riders around here, and he knows they're going to have to do their job to get over the line. All in all, I think we're set for a cracking meeting tonight, a great year here at Oxford Speedway with their 3 teams. And we're really looking forward to bringing you the streams. My name is Lee Kilby, and thankfully there were a few more positive comments than negative ones last year. So the management here and the production team of Oxford TV have decided to invite me back for another year on the mic, and I'm really looking forward to bringing all the action to you. Straight away we're into the Oxford pits there. You can see new rider there for the Spires, Peter Kildemand. One of the surprise signings, Peter, when he came in. He'll be looking to impress tonight. He grew into the meeting at Killeen on Monday, and he'll be looking to have a great home debut tonight. So the weather here, it's been pretty overcast all day, but we've got a good racing track ahead of us. And let's have a look at the Spires. This is the team. So Rohan TUNGATE, number 1, he's back for another season with the Spires. Erik RISS, he stays in from the side as well from last year, as does number 3 Charles Wright, former British champion. Peter Kildemand, the man we just picked up on there, he comes in at number 4 today. He was at 2 on Monday, but he's at 4 today in the side. Maciej JANOWSKI, he's at 5. He's been retained from last year, and he grew into the season last year as well. Another exciting signing, Francis Gusts. He's in at number 6 at reserve, and he did look good at Killeen. Again, he grew into the meeting there on Monday. And Killeen, a man who was Oxford through and through last year, he's retained that this year as he's riding for the Spires and the Cheetahs, and he finds himself in that rising star position at the bottom with plenty of room to grow. Peter Schroeck, team manager as he has been, he's in charge of all 3 sides this season, and I managed to catch up with him in the pits just earlier on. Peter Schroeck, Oxford team manager for all 3 sides again this year, Pete. When was that decision made?
Pretty much when the season was finished last year. So, yeah, I mean, we're keeping the momentum going as we do with everything else here. So, it's worked last year. And they give me a little bit of a break over the winter, but now, yeah, I'm back. You're
back, and you're off and running. Just in the terms of the side, let's talk Spires. We're here for the Spires tonight. Tricky first meeting, but I've just had a chat with Rob Lyon, and to concede 7 heat advantages in the first 8 heats, it must have been a shock to the system. But the boys turned it around in the second half of the meeting.
They certainly did, and don't forget, you obviously had Niels' testimonial the week before, so all the boys had a bit of an idea what the track was going to be like.
Yep.
It wasn't as grippy as it usually is, but it looked very intimidating. And so it took us a little bit longer to get going, but, when you look at it, they only had 2 5-1s against us overall. We had 1 5-1. The rest of it was the heat advantages. We had too many last places. And Bomber, he was unbelievable, so to have somebody like that, a reserve, and especially that early on. So I'm not taking too much note of the result. For me, it was important that the boys kept their heads, and they did. So, we've done a good job. So at the end of the day, if we carry on the way we finished tonight, then, we give ourselves the best chance.
Yeah, because in the press you come out and said, look, cut the 5-1s, cut the 4-2s early on, and it's game on, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right,
You've made a couple of changes to the lineup tonight.
Yeah.
Peter and
Erik.
Erik have switched.
Yeah.
Thinking behind that?
Yeah, no, it's just something I looked at. Erik and Charles, they're riding very similar. They're obviously riding a red car together as well. So, I felt like Peter is a very laid-back guy, and he can look after himself. So, I think he's a good leader as well. He's got a good head on him. He's quiet, but he knows what he's doing. And so I thought I'd stick him in the middle, settle that boat a little bit more. Erik had a great season with us last year at number 2.
Yeah.
Worked with Rohan. He wanted to have a go at number 4, but, we decided to go back to what we know, and that's basically it.
Okay, so I hope that works for you tonight. And just in terms of the track, we were just talking off camera about how impressed you were with the way the track held up for the Ben Fun the other day. A lot of work's gone into that over the winter.
Oh, yeah, very much so, you know, and even on our press day we'd done the test. We had all 3 teams here, so the track had a really good, you know, going at, so, and it held up really well. The bend fund, you know, I don't think, being a little bit biased here, I don't think many people could have carried it on the way we did. You know, it was drizzling all the way through, the track rode really well, and I was really proud. None of the riders were sort of, you know, sort of whinging about it or anything like that. They just all got on with the job because it was for the right cause. And, yeah, we got through it okay.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, you're going to see a lot of me this season, Peter, so get used to this interview, and we wish you all the best on that.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, you're one of the good guys.
Top man, thanks, Peter. I appreciate that. Have a good one.
Cheers, buddy.
Always said he was a good judge of character, Peter Schroeck. Yeah, lovely to catch up with him in the pits earlier on. Really good energy, really good enthusiasm, as you can expect. And he's confident his team are going to be up for it. Now let's take a quick look at the Kings Lynn Stars. Now, amazing makeup of their side. All top 6 come within that 6-point average look. So Ben Cook, he finds himself at number 1. He comes in this season, new rider for the Kings Lynn Stars. Richard Lawson, familiar face for Kings Lynn. He finds himself at number 2 tonight. That's been a one rider change in the lineup. Nicolai KLINDT was here last year at Oxford, then went to Kings Lynn and really found his feet there. And he's been retained in the lineup. Niels, Kristian, Iversen, man that needs no introduction. He finds himself at number 4. Jan Kvech, another rider who last year grew into the season and was a real fan favourite up there at Saddlebow. He finds himself at number 5. Amazing Chris Harris at number 6, you know, to have a rider of that calibre at number 6, and he showed what he's capable of while he's down there in the first meeting on Monday evening. And another familiar face around these parts, Ashton BOUGHEN, who was wonderful here. He's still grown, he's still such a young man. He's made the move to his local club, and he finds himself in that rising star position for the Stars. Rob Lyon, again, man who's had much success in the league. He's been a championship winner with Peterborough in the past. I managed to catch up with him in the pits earlier on. Rob Lyon, Kings Lynn team manager, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, pretty good.
Start to the year, you've only had obviously the one competitive one, which we'll touch on in a minute, but in and around the boys for a few weeks, been good?
Yeah, it's been okay. We had a good day last Friday, press day, and good team day, good get together, so the boys are gelling well, and a good practice, and obviously a good result Monday, so far so good.
And Monday was terrific for you guys, you really hit the ground running.
Yeah, we did. It was a good result for us. Opening night's always a bit nervy, you know, you're not sure what's going to happen, but boys performed well as a team, and obviously Bombing was outstanding, but yeah, happy with the performance overall, and a healthy lead to bring here tonight.
And was it a little bit of a shock to get like 7 heat advantages in like the first 8 heats, because that really is starting off on fire?
Yeah, it was a bit, you know, but the boys were well up for it, and yeah, it worked pretty well. Obviously, to be fair to Oxford, they held us for the last sort of second half of the meeting, so it was something for us to work on at home, certainly, but happy with the overall result, which is the main thing. Yeah,
that's good. And to be honest, with the quality that Oxford have got, you'd expect them to grow into a meeting, wouldn't you? You wouldn't expect to go through the whole card like that.
No, exactly. They've got some quality riders, and the new boy, Francis Gusts, rode very well, and came and spoilt the party a little bit, which was great to see. Good entertainment for the fans and everything. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll come good, and there aren't really any weak links in this league, I don't think. So we were happy to get the win, get it over the line. Fans were happy, first meeting, and we move on to this one.
Yeah, terrific. And you've obviously got some boys in the side that were here last year, so you've got a bit of track knowledge. That must bode well for tonight.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, you say Bomber and Ashton were here last year. Ben Cook knows his way around this place, having ridden here for Paul on many occasions. So, yeah, we've got a bit of track knowledge, but, you know, it's all on the night at the end of the day.
And in terms of your 1 to 7 tonight, a couple of changes. You've moved Richard and Jan, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
Thinking behind that?
Just a little bit more, probably a little bit more strength in the, you know, in the number 2 position. Richard's been around a long time, and, you know, probably a little bit more familiar with Oxford than Jan. So that was the thinking behind it. Our team is very solid, as you know, and you know, the latter heats, the bigger heats, certainly away from home, we want to make sure we sort of belts and braces where we can be.
Yeah.
Not always going to work out that way, but in theory, that's what we're thinking. So. And certainly in the Co Cup, we need to keep it as close as possible, and, you know, it'd be nice to win it, but, you know, on the night. But certainly keeping it as close as possible is the aim. Yeah,
and just finally, I've read quite a few comparisons to the side that you put together here with the side that you won the league with at Peterborough. Was that part of your thinking when you were building the team, because that worked so well for you that year?
Yeah, it did. I mean, I think it's a little bit of coincidence, really, to be honest. I mean,
okay.
Like all teams, we would like a with all due respect to our boys, we would like an out-and-out number one if we could find one. But as we all know, in Speedway at this moment in time, they're few and far between. And the other teams obviously had those riders and weren't prepared to let them go. So we were in a situation where we knew that we'd have to build solid. And so we got it done early and got the team we wanted to try and be different, a little bit sort of a different dynamic to the top three, if you like, and be interesting to see how it pans out.
Well, I think a lot of people are impressed with what you put together, so we wish you luck tonight and for the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Lee.
Cheers, Rob. Neil Middleditch. I think Neil's in on a jolly this evening. He's got no actual remit. I think he's travelled up with Ben Cook. Obviously, the Cook boys are still in and around Midlow down there, and I think he's travelled up with those boys tonight. But familiar faces in the pits tonight for Killeen. Richard Lawson there, Nicolai KLINDT. Nicolai obviously started the season here last year. Didn't work out for him, but found a good home up there at Killeen. It fit him with his logistics of his racing as well, and he was very happy up there. And I know he's really pleased to be retained. So yeah, the two sides, there's the 4 rider changes for Killeen this year. Out has gone Benjamin Basso, Anders Rowe, Lewis Kerr and Patrick Wadgelow. And in has come Ben Cook, Chris Harris, Richard Lawson and Ashton BOUGHEN. So 4 changes, some consistency there. And in the Oxford team, obviously Chris Harris and Ashton BOUGHEN, they've left the Spires and they've gone to Killeen, and they've been replaced by Peter Kildemand and Francis Gusts. So familiarity for both teams, both sets of fans. It's always good when you're as a supporter you can get behind and the same riders year on. Doesn't always happen because of the averages and the way that teams have got to build now, but it is nice when you can keep the crux of a side in there and get used to some regular faces. So boys are out there ready, getting ready for the parade. Just touching on it before the lineup, the track here is fantastic. I took a walk earlier on and it's as smooth as anything. There's no nicks, there's no bumps. They've done loads of work on it over the winter. They've laid a new curb, they've put tons of new shale on it, and they've done an immense amount of work to deliver what was already a really good racetrack. But just talking to Jamie Courtney, Peter Schroeck, all the management here, they're delighted with the way it's looking, and they're really excited for the 3-team attack on the season again. It'll be interesting to see how those sides do. And I was touching on the weather's been cool and damp today, so it's kept that moisture in the surface, and that helps with the track prep, and that will help hopefully with a build-up of a race line. And we've seen some fantastic racing here last year. That line builds up towards the fence, but just there near the back of that Killeen side is a man that you don't want to put too much dirt on that track for, because Chris Harris will take advantage of that. So it's a tactical decision how to do this track tonight. But they're all racers. Niels Kristian Iversen, he can beat anybody on his day. Ben Cook's an interesting one. Find himself at number 1. He had a decent year at Bellevue last year. He's obviously swapped in and out there with his brother. Zach's gone in there. And because of the way that the side's made up here, all top 6 riders, like we saw on the graphic at the beginning, are within that 6 point. So when those first set of averages come out, the riding order could change dramatically, and any of those top 6 realistically could find themselves down in that number 6 berth with Chris Harris coming out of it. So the makeup, like we were saying, is very, very much like the Peterborough side, the Dad's Army side that Rob Lyon put together when Peterborough won the league a few years ago, and they had that same thing. Whoever dropped down into the reserve berth scored big. So Killeen are confident, but with the Spires, continuity is there from last season, and I think in Peter Kildemand and Francis Gusts, I think it's fair to say that they've brought in 2 riders that a lot of us are excited to see. We're excited to see Peter back. He was such a fantastic rider over here, obviously more known for his time with Swindon, but he did have a spell there for Paul as well. Oxford will be hoping he can bring that kind of form that we've seen from him in the GPs. And Francis Gusts, we've seen him for Latvia. We saw him in some of the under 23 World Cup action, and he's going to bring a lot of excitement. And Rob said that in his comments, in his commentary. You know, he was up there and he spoiled a few heats up there for their boys, which was good to see from an Oxford perspective. So all in all, I think we've got a cracking meeting on show. It's a 16-point deficit that the Spires are going to try and eat into tonight. They're going to have to try and do that early, get on the front foot, push Killeen back a little bit. There we can see a shot of the start, and you can just see the extra grip on the starts there. There we go. You can see that it's been worked on quite a bit. There is some grip there. They're pretty consistent when I looked over the top earlier on. We'll wait and see. Maciej JANOWSKI is going to be the captain of the Spires this season, and I think Niels, Kristian. It's Nicolai KLINDT actually. Nicolai KLINDT is the captain for King's Lynn. So they're just having a quick chat and a quick intro with the crowd, and then they'll do the coin toss, and we'll see how this meeting will develop. There are other meetings that will try and keep you up to speed on tonight. I'm sure you're sat at home anyway with every manner of social media available to you and updates, so you'll be able to see what's going on. You get updates on British Speedway Network page, on Speedway Updates. We've got Ipswich and Bellevue. They're going head to head. Ipswich hold a 10-point lead in that first round from the Knockout Cup on Monday. That's back at Ipswich this evening, and the winners of that will face the winners of this meeting. So if King's Lynn can hold their own, they will go through, and obviously if Oxford can get in a groove early doors and start eating into those 16 points, it may well be them that ends up facing either Ipswich or Bellevue. So coin toss. Let's see if I can listen in. So Oxford 1 and 3 in heat number 1. Maciej won the toss there. Oxford will take 1 and 3 in heat number 1. And that means towards the back end of the meeting it will switch, and when we get to 15 it will be the call of King's Lynn as to what they take in 15. And we'll just run through the riders quickly again for you. There's Ashton BOUGHEN on screen. Young man, big future ahead of him. Exciting rider. A lot expected of him, a lot expected of himself. Man that needs no introduction. Paid 18 points on Monday, was outstanding. Jan Kvech, 2024 Czech champion. Niels, Kristian, Iversen, 7-time Danish champion Niels. Nicolai, he was under 21 Danish champion a couple of times. He was riding across 2 or 3 tracks this year. Richard Lawson at 2 and Ben Cook at number 1. So all of those boys, apart from I think Richard Lawson, had some action pre-season, so to speak, whether it was the Ben Fund, the Peter Craven or Niels Kristian's testimonial. Luke Killeen at 7, popular figure here. Luke always gives his all. Francis Gusts, a man who I'm sure is going to bring much entertainment this season. He's in at 6. Captain for this season, Maciej JANOWSKI. He's at number 5. 2-time Polish champion. Peter Kildemand won the World Cup in 2014 with Denmark. He's riding for Berwick as well this season. Charles Wright. Red car in Oxford again this year like he did last year. Erik RISS. And at number 1 is Rohan TUNGATE, 2-time Australian champion. Rohan, he's riding in Poland and Sweden again this year. So most of these riders are either riding somewhere else in the UK, or they find themselves on the continent in Denmark, Sweden or Poland. They've all got a couple of sides to race for. Luke Killeen obviously is going to be a double Oxford rider again this year. He stepped up and out of the National League setup, but he will be riding for the Cheetahs and the Spires. So chance to just put in a couple of practice starts, get a feel for the track. Have a quick test and get back in quickly and change up setup if necessary. But I imagine that most of them will have a good understanding on what they're supposed to be on. Early doors here. There's plenty of experience with the likes of Nicolai, Chris Harris that have ridden this track many times. So I'm sure the King's Lynn boys will have a good knowledge of it. There's a Brent shot back down the home straight. So yeah, just going back, the other Knockout Cup this evening, it is Ipswich and Bellevue. 10-point lead for Ipswich in that one. And the other fixture is Leicester. Well, they won 57-33 away at Birmingham. So Birmingham with a heck of a lot to do there if they've got any hopes of turning that fixture over. It's going to be a massive ask for them. But they've got a relatively new side there at Birmingham, so they'll be finding their feet. And the winners of that are going to face Sheffield in the semi-finals. Now, interesting, Paul were given the opportunity to race in the Knockout Cup. Obviously, they're a championship side again this year, Paul, but they were offered the opportunity to make an 8th team so that we'd have an even competition. And I think they initially decided that they'd like to take part in the Knockout Cup, but then, for whatever reason, declined the opportunity to do it. So that meant that Sheffield got a bye, and that pushed Sheffield into a semi-final berth, where they will be up against the winners of Leicester and Birmingham. I can imagine Leicester will imagine it's going to be them, but it'll be a monumental effort for Birmingham to go there and overturn that huge deficit. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. So the guys getting the tapes ready. Dave Watters is our referee this evening. I saw Dave earlier on. He was having a walk of the track. When the referees turn up, it's not just turn up, go to the box and get on with it. They have to do a track walk, check the fence, look at all the health and safety side of it. Plenty of it goes into it. So there's our number one, Rohan TUNGATE, getting himself ready. Fantastic last season, Rohan. 100% up all the time, and he's going to find himself paired with Erik RISS. And like Peter said, they built up a bit of a relationship on track, so he'll be hoping that could be a trump card for them this evening. And they're going to be coming up against a powerful pairing of Ben Cook and Richard Lawson. Both know this track well. Both have had race wins and success here, so it's going to be an even battle from the get-go. So we're all set. We are Oxford Spires. We are the Bet Goodwin Oxford Spires this season. The Cheetahs, they're going to be sponsored and supported by SD Timo Car Sales in the Championship. And the Chargers, they will be backed and supported again by the Real Mini Cooper Company. So some good sponsorship and backing of the three sides here, which is imperative. So there we can see Charles has obviously gone out and done a few practice starts. He's come straight back in. Looks like spring going in there. Yeah, a few little changes. Obviously felt a bit of a need to have a change. So he's got until heat 3, so he's got plenty of time to do that. But that's the idea. That's the idea. Go out, do a couple of practice starts, see how it feels, and get yourself in, changed, and ready to go. So here we go. We are moving on. 2 minutes is on. Dave Watters has got that going. I'm quite excited. First Speedway of the season for me. I'm looking forward to it. Let's hope we have an exciting meeting to bring you this evening. If you're a regular viewer, if you joined us last year, thank you and welcome back. It's great to have you back. And if you're a Kings Lynn fan who couldn't make the trip down to Oxfordshire today, or you're just a Speedway lover who needed a fix, welcome. It's great to have you on board. Thank you for supporting the stream here. And I'll do my best to bring you as an impartial view as I possibly can here on Oxford TV. But it's great to have you. We hope it's a good meeting. We'll try and keep you up to speed as best I can with rider changes, any tactical movement from the pits, so that you're up to speed and enjoying your Speedway. So we have a minute to go. 1 and 3 for the home side. Erik RISS will find himself a 1 there. So here we go. Heat 1, sponsored by Monarch Oxford. On the inside in blue for Oxford will be Erik RISS. Off gate 2 in yellow for Kings Lynn will be Richard Lawson. Rohan TUNGATE in red, he will be off gate 3 for the Oxford Spires. And Ben Cook, the number 1 for the Kings Lynn Stars, he will be in the white helmet colour off of gate number 4. I doubt very much there's any newbies, but if there are any newbies, we've got 4 laps, 3, 2, 1, 0 points are scored. This is a team game, so the boys should be looking out for their teammates, but early on, what you'll tend to find is whoever makes that gate, get his head down, go for the win. All 4 of these riders are capable of jumping out at the start here and winning this race. Let's see which one of them can do it. So we're off and running. First race, Oxford TV. Up we go, takes her into the first turn. It's a great start off of 2 from Richard Lawson. Keep an eye on Rohan TUNGATE. It's going to push wide. Now Richard got a nice run coming off the inside. Richard Lawson out front, Rohan TUNGATE second. Erik RISS has tucked into third. At the moment, Ben Cook is at the back. 1 lap down. Front 3 nice and close at the minute. Richard Lawson hugging the inside. Rohan TUNGATE trying to push a little bit wider. Not a lot there. He's just drifted back a little bit, Rohan. Probably do as well to sit in there with Erik RISS and pack in for second and third, because Ben Cook is not that far away in fourth. But Richard Lawson looking pretty comfortable. He's ridden a very similar line on all 4 of his laps so far, Richard. And he's just edged away a little bit from the Oxford pairing in second and third. So with a lap to go, it is Richard Lawson, Rohan TUNGATE and Erik RISS on top of each other in second and third, and Ben Cook now just a tiny bit of drift at the back. But This is looking like it's going to be a good opening win in yellow for the Kings Lynn Stars for Richard Lawson, followed home by Rohan TUNGATE and Erik RISS. So a 3-3 is our opening scoreline. Ben Cook working away at the back, just couldn't land a blow. So 3-3 scoreline, opens it up, Richard Lawson with the win, Rohan TUNGATE second, Erik RISS in third, Ben Cook in fourth. 3-3 scoreline, that keeps the aggregate score exactly the same. We are 3-3, a good opening win for Richard Lawson. Solid from Rohan and Erik in second, and Ben Cook there just struggling to land a blow on that middle two. But like we were saying early on, 4 very competitive riders in that race. Any of those could have jumped out and won it. We'll keep an eye on the gate stats as we go. There's a win early on off of gate 2 for Richard Lawson. Riders out on track already for heat number 2. Still strange seeing Chris Harris come out in the reserve race here, but that's the nature of the side here at Kings Lynn. There's Rob Lyon on track, just giving Ashton and Chris Harris a bit of a G up before they head out for heat number 2. Still no 2 minutes on yet, but an interesting race to start. There's a pretty even break going into the first turn, but Richard Lawson got a nice run into that first turn and pretty much ran 4 laps consistent. Didn't drift off that line too much. Rohan did push out wide to try and get a run, but it didn't really work coming off a 2. But that dirt line will build up as the night goes on. So gate and key in that early race. Let's see what the reserve race brings. One rider there on screen, get towards the end of his career. He's definitely not there yet. And that is Chris Harris on the inside in white. This is heat number 2, sponsored by Keith Cook. Chris Harris in white off the inside for Kings Lynn. Off gate 2 in red, Francis Gusts for Oxford. Ashton BOUGHEN, he's going to be in yellow for Kings Lynn off of gate number 3. And Luke Killeen, he'll be in blue off of gate number 4 for the Oxford Spires. So 3-3 opening score. Always interesting to see the reserves race. Obviously any of these boys can take up to 7 heats throughout the course of the evening. So if you've got a trump card, they can play a huge part in the winning of a meeting, like Chris did on Monday at Saddlebow Road. So Keith Cook, Construction, the sponsors of heat number 2. Here we go, the riders are at tapes ready to go. No 2 minutes, but the referee's happy. Start marshal walks away, tapes up and away we go. Oh, it's a great start from Chris Harris off of 1, but keep an eye off of gate 4. Luke Killeen's had the door shut by Ashton BOUGHEN, and it looks like the Stars are going to pull away. Chris Harris out front, Ashton BOUGHEN in second. Keep an eye on Francis Gusts. He's going out in the dirt, he's pushing hard after the Kings Lynn pair, but this could be a great heat 2 for Kings Lynn if it sticks like this. We've lost Luke Killeen, he's pulled into the centre green. Bike problems for him. It's all down to Francis Gusts. Can he land a blow? Ashton BOUGHEN, he's out front. Chris Harris will just sit in behind and protect his young teammate, I'm sure. It's going to make it extremely difficult for Francis Gusts to get in the mix and get in amongst the bigger points here. Chris has just come off the line a little bit, but Francis can't do much about it with a lap to go. Ashton BOUGHEN, this would be a big feather in his cap to win heat 2, coming back here to his old club. Looks like he's going to do it. Half a lap to go. It's going to be a win for Ashton BOUGHEN in yellow. Second place for Chris Harris. Francis Gusts in red, not that far behind, but just could not get up in amongst those point scorers. So it gets better for the away side. And it gets slightly worse for the home side. Luke Killeen with bike problems, he didn't complete the heat. But Chris Harris still remains unbeaten this season in the Knockout Cup. It was a good start from Chris off the inside. He made a great gate, got into the first turn first. I thought Luke Killeen was getting out there to get over the top, but he just couldn't get that run around the first 2 turns. Chris Harris just packed in, as you'd expect him to do, sat behind his teammate, Ashton BOUGHEN with the win. Second place, Chris Harris. Third was Francis Gusts in red. And Luke Killeen failed to finish, so it's a 1-5 in favour of the Kings Lynn Stars, 4-8 on the night, and now it's a 20-point gap on the aggregate, 41-61. Work to do for the Spires. And you can see it from the tapes. Keep an eye on Chris on the inside, in white for Kings Lynn. Luke Killeen in blue off the outside, made a good gate. Just Ashton BOUGHEN just stopped his run. A little bit later in the meeting, and that line that Luke Killeen was on there in blue, that would have worked down the back straight. You saw the bike pop there. Something's obviously whether he dropped a chain or what, I don't know. But he just seemed to lose power coming down the back straight. And then it was left to Francis Gusts. And he was on the back wheel of Chris Harris. You can't knock him. That's a similar line to Rohan that Rohan was taking in Heat 1. There's just not that run of grip there. There's me. There's my vantage point. Best seat in the house. Not that I've got a seat, but I've got the best view. So you can see that the Spires are trying. They're putting their back wheels out there to try and get that groove and that line around the outside. It's just not working as of yet. So 4-8, heat number 3. Riders coming round, starting to get pressure on the riders now. Peter Kildemand and Charles Wright in this one. Pressure's going to mount on them. Here we go then, line up. Liquid Screed, sponsors of heat number 3. Peter Kildemand for Oxford, he'll be off the inside in blue. Next to him in white, Kings Lynn captain Nicolai KLINDT. Gate 3, Charles Wright in red for Oxford. And Niels Kristian Iversen, testimonial man this year, he'll be in the yellow helmet colour off the outside for Kings Lynn. First ride for all these riders tonight, obviously, 4-8. Oxford are going to want to try and get something in this one. And in Peter Kildemand and Charles Wright, they've got 2 riders that more than capable, but they come up against Nicolai KLINDT, who's got good knowledge of this circuit. He had a bad injury at the end of the season, Nicolai. Wasn't able to finish the season on the bike, but thankfully he's okay and he's back racing again now. And thankfully Charles, who crashed in the Bend Fund, the final of the Bend Fund here at the weekend, thankfully there was no lasting effect for him, and he's able to start his season. So we've got 30 seconds. Dave Watters gets the riders to tapes. Here we go then. Charles Wright, Peter Kildemand, Nicolai KLINDT, Niels Kristian Iversen. Start marshal calls from him. We've had a win off of 1 and we've had a win off of 2. Here we go. Tapes up and away we go on heat number 3. Good start from the middle order. Charles Wright's in the mix. Both Lynn boys going inside, outside. All 3 going into turns 3 together. Oh, Peter Kildamand's come down there. Now, did Nicolai KLINDT just get in a bit of bother? I was looking at the movement at the front of the heat there, and then I saw Peter Kildemand going up. And I just wonder whether Nicolai KLINDT got in a little bit of bother, and did that affect Peter Kildemand? First and foremost, we hope Peter's okay. It was a really competitive first lap. The 2 Lynn boys were inside and outside of Charles Wright as they were going into turn 3. And Niels Kristian Iversen, he got his nose in front. And then there was a bit of drama behind. So Nicolai has gone round to check on Peter Kildemand, who's still down at the moment. Just looking down, I can't see a light on at the minute. Again, it was one of those. I was looking at the front, seeing what was going on at the front of the heat, so we couldn't necessarily see what was going on at the back. So our best wishes are with Peter at the moment. He's still down there with the paramedics. So yeah, the question is whether Nicolai just locked up a tiny bit, or whether Peter was just carrying a bit too much speed and went into the back. I think that's the decision that the referee's going to have to make. But it's really competitive. All 4 riders are under a blanket, as the fantastic Dave Lanning used to say. So referee's got a call to make. I think the most important thing is that Peter gets up from this. So just so you know, the referee did just pop in and take a look at our screens. He wanted to have a couple more looks, and the referees are allowed to do that when there's a stream facility at the tracks. They are able to go in and have a look and see if they can fathom, because it all happens in the blink of an eye, as you well know, and sometimes you're not looking at that part of the track, and it's hard to always pick up straight away with the naked eye. So when they've got the facility, they absolutely use it. A bit like VAR, but quicker. So yeah, I think it's going to be a blue exclusion. I think Peter Kildemand is being put down as the cause of the incident there. I just couldn't see whether Nicolai just maybe locked up a tiny bit as Peter was driving into the turn, but the referee has deemed the incident to be that Peter was just carrying a bit too much speed and went into the back of Nicolai. So let's hope that Peter's okay. He was looking like a good heat for Niels Kristian Iversen at that point. He got himself into a good position out front. So yeah, we've just got a small delay while the paramedics are with Peter. It's just a bit of a knock, nothing worse at this stage. We obviously won't bring you the replay until we know that he's okay. He's up on his feet. Maybe you can hear the crowd and the horns in the background. That's a good thing. There we go. There's Peter. He's got the clerk of the course there with him, Michael Hunt. You see Peter Schroeck, Jamie Courtney. That's good news. Great to see Peter up and okay. That is the most important thing. And he's got a few races. He's not back out until heat 5. Actually, he's only got a couple. Hopefully he's able to carry on. So yeah, let's just have a look here. It's all three going into the turn at once here. Just keep an eye on Nicolai and White. Just don't know whether he locked up there and Peter was obviously, well, the referee deems that Peter was just coming in quite hot and just caught the back end of Nicolai. We saw a few incidents like that last year, didn't we? Whether it was on BSN or mainstream, where there was incidents where a rider was not necessarily locking up, but just had that moment of movement. Yeah, let's watch it again. That's good. Keep an eye on Nicolai here. Just there, just a tiny bit. It's really hard to judge. It's hard to know whether Peter would have connected with him there or not in that incident. I'm sure the Oxford fans would see it one way and Kings Lynn fans would see it another way. But yeah, there was a few last year where we essentially saw a couple of different decisions for the same incident at different meetings, and that's where it's hard to judge sometimes whose fault it is. And like I just said there, you know, the one team will think it's their rider and the other team will think it's their rider. So he's walking. He's just going to go to the paramedic hut there. We've said, as long as he's okay, Charles Wright, he's going to have to go it alone now in this one. I'll just fill in my program. Peter Kildland with a FEX. So a bit of work for Luke Killeen and Erik RISS there on the clutches. So Erik, he followed Rohan home in heat number 1 for 3rd place. Jake Barrett there on the spanners for Rohan, as he was last year. To the Oxford, the Kings Lynn end of the pits. Now Chris is unbeaten so far. Just looking down the programme. Chris will find himself, as long as they stick with Ashton BOUGHEN, which you'd think they would in heat 4 after that result. And there's Ashton on screen. He did very well to win that opening heat number 2, as he did on Monday at Kings Lynn. Chris will find himself up against Rohan TUNGATE and Erik RISS. So the 2 minutes are on. Obviously, everyone in the rerun didn't come down, so it should be pretty straightforward to get those boys back up to tapes. Then Niels Kristian Iversen, he's going to be hoping he can do the same again. It's a really competitive start and first couple of turns and back straight. He's developing into a really good close heat. Let's hope we get that same outcome again. We didn't want to crash that early in the season. Just scanning over to the pits all the time just to see if I can see Peter come out of the paramedic hut. I think he is out already. So there's Charles Wright. He's going to be running solo. Off gate number 3. Like I said, we had a winner off of 1 and a winner off of 2 in the opening couple of heats. Put in Charles Wright off of 3 and Niels Kristian off of 4. And we could well have a full set of gate wins in the next couple of heats. It's looking pretty even. It's pretty even and consistent when I walked over them earlier on. So here we go. Rerun of heat number 3. Peter Kildemand, he's excluded as the cause of the stoppage first time out. So nobody off of gate number 1. Nicolai KLINDT, white helmet colour, he's going for gate number 2. Charles Wright, red, gate number 3 for Oxford. And then Niels Kristian Iversen, gate number 4 in the yellow helmet colour for the Kings Lynn Stars. So it will change, possibly change Nicolai's run up to the first turn. Now he's got nobody on the inside of him. Whether he goes back in the same groove he was in before or not remains to be seen. He's not going right over, so he's potentially in the same spot. Okay, rerun of heat number 3. Tapes up and away we go. Even break again. Strong first turn. Oh, tight going in there. Can Charles Wright get the run? He's got himself around Nicolai KLINDT, but Niels Kristian Iversen, as he did in the first run-in, he just drifts a little bit wide. Can Charles get advantage up the inside? Not that time. Close out front. Niels Kristian Iversen, Charles Wright. Nicolai KLINDT's not a million miles away. Good, close, competitive heat number 3 so far. Charles just putting it a little bit wider. Niels moves out just to shut that run off a little bit. And it just looks like he's starting to eke away a little bit there. Niels Kristian Iversen out front with Charles Wright in second and Nicolai KLINDT in third. Charles is really pushing it wider on turn 4 to try and get that run. We've seen a couple of the boys try it on turn 2 and it's not working. There's a good inside line there from Charles. Has he got anything on this last 2 turns? He's putting it out wide. Will he get a run around? Nicolai shuts the door. Run to the line. Oh, we might be seeing the referee again. Excellent last corner from both of those riders. Charles Wright, well, he's punching the air. He thinks he got it. Got a sneaky suspicion he did as well. But I'm not 100%. There we go. Can't get replays quicker than this. Just keep an eye. Niels moves out and shuts that line off. And then Charles up the inside. Oh, I tell you what, I think Niels has got it. It's even close second time round. Well, the referee's not reappeared, so he must be happy. I'm going to have to listen out for the announcer. Yeah, he's giving it to Niels. I thought he did on the replay. A great effort from Charles Wright there. You can't knock him for that. Terrific effort. Kept on the back wheel of Niels for the entire race. But what it does do is it does give Kings Lynn another heat advantage. Just starting to eke away. There we go. Niels Kristian Iversen with the win. Charles Wright, wonderful effort in second. Nicolai KLINDT in third, unchallenged. No Peter Kildemand. So 4-2 to the Kings Lynn Stars. That makes it 6-12 on the night. 43-65 on the aggregate score, and they're just starting to eke away a little bit. Just opening that gap up. When we look down at the programme, we've had 3 winners from the away side. Nothing for the home side at the moment, but we have had winners off of gates 1, 2 and 4, so it is an even spread. Charles almost got it off for 3. Not from the tapes. In a fantastic battle. That was a superb race. Well done to both those guys. Now front, and we move swiftly on with heat number 4. And we're going to see a couple more big hitters coming out in this one. 2 riders with Grand Prix experience. And a couple of the young up-and-coming riders. Although it looks like we've got a switch already in blue. Here we go, it is a switch. Reserve switch inside. Francis Gusts, he will be off the inside in blue for the Oxford Spires. Ashton BOUGHEN, winner first time out, he'll be in yellow off of gate number 2. Maciej JANOWSKI comes out for the first time, he'll be in red off of gate number 3. And Kvech, white, first time out for him tonight, he will be off the outside in white for Killeen. So an early switch of reserve sees Francis Gusts come in for Luke Killeen. Probably a wise move at this stage. Francis looked quick. Whether Luke's got any bite problems from that first one or not, I'm not too sure. So 12-6 on the night to the away side. Time to hit back with Magic and Francis. Here we go. Heat number 4, sponsored by Nuffield Health. Tapes up and away we go. And it is a good start off the inside. Maybe a bit of contact there between Francis Gusts and Ashton BOUGHEN. Maciej JANOWSKI, he goes all the way around the outside into the lead. Francis Gusts is at the moment tucked into second. Kvech in third. Now will the Oxford boys look for each other here? Work as a pair. Oh, Magic's just got in a bit of bother. Saves it. Tucks back into second. Francis Gusts made a great gate, wasn't there, with a little bit of contact with Ashton BOUGHEN going into the first turn. Francis Gusts finds himself out front. Maciej JANOWSKI's got to keep on his toes because Kvech isn't a million miles away there in third place. And we saw what Charles Wright almost did in the last heat, so he's got to stay on his toes, Magic. As we go into the last lap, Francis Gusts looking great. Good tactical switch by Peter Schroeck in this one. Maciej JANOWSKI's holding on to second, but Kvech almost up the inside there. 2 turns, Francis Gusts got it in the bag. Great win for him. Is it a second for Maciej JANOWSKI? Yes, it is. That's what the Spires needed. Big 5-1. Big 5-1. Great win for Francis Gusts. Apart from getting into a tiny bit of trouble there on turn 2 in one of the laps, Maciej JANOWSKI safe in second. Kvech pushed him all the way. But it is a 5-1 and the home side needed that. Win for Francis Gusts, second for Maciej JANOWSKI. 5 points for the home side. Kvech in third, he picks up the point for Killeen. Ashton BOUGHEN at the back. So 5-1 to the home side, 11-13 on the night. And something finally for the home side to cheer. Credit manager where it's due. Good tactical switch by Peter Schroeck there. Keep an eye on the inside too. There's definitely a bit of contact going into the first turn. Whether it was enough to really put Ashton off, no, I think Francis just made a great gate. Magic got round the outside of him. And then the two were pretty tight going in here. Francis on the inside, Magic on the outside. This is where Magic just goes a bit hot, tiny bit of bother, but gets it under control. And Kvech pushed him all the way, but just couldn't get himself up into that scoring position. So some positive stuff, excellent there from Francis Gusts. That'll make the home crowd happy. We are going to have a bit of a grade. I think we're going to just drag some of that dirt back in off the fence. Dan Gilks, got Courtney there talking to Francis Gusts. But really pleased with that. So there we go. We just drag a bit of dirt back in off the fence. We'll get a bit of water down. Wayne Hutt works on the track with Jamie Courtney here. There's some gate stats. So we've got a full house. A winner from everywhere. Points are coming off of 3, but we've got winners. Winners off of all, and that's how it's going to go tonight. We're going to get winners off of. So, Francis giving the home fans something to cheer, a nice win for the home side. And that sets up after the first 4 heats nicely. 48-66. I think they've just got to go for the win on the night, Oxford. It was a big ask to get the 16 back. They can still do it. I'm not saying they can't. But they're going to want to win at home. They're going to want to get a victory on their first meeting of the season here in front of a really good crowd again. Fans have turned out tonight. Temperature has dropped now. I can tell you it is a bit colder. Maybe a bit of a sprocket change there. But you can see the Killeen team having a bit of a head-to-head at the bottom there. Quite happy with how their night's going so far. Rob Lyon, good team manager. As we said, won the league with Peterborough. Was in charge of Team GB for a while. Just having a chat with Chris We're going to see Chris out again in heat number 6. Heat 5's interesting. We've had no word from the pits on Peter Kildemand as yet, so we're not sure. We're not sure how Peter is. Be interesting to see if we do see him back out again. If we don't, Francis Gusts is in for a busy evening, but there will be if he is injured, there will be an IRR. They'll be able to use somebody else for Peter. I think he's sat in the pits there. Magic's on his phone. So there you can see all the Oxford details, Facebook, Twitter, still calling it Twitter, I'm not calling it X, and Instagram along the bottom there. You can keep tabs with everything Oxford Speedway, whether it's charges, spires, all the cheaters, as the season rolls on. We are going to stick with every stream, aside from when the British Speedway Network are here, when we'll let them take control. If they're not here, we'll be running the streams. Again, we're grateful to you for buying the stream, paying for it, buying it. There's Peter, he's looking a bit uncomfortable. It'll be interesting to see if his evening is done there. It's not looking too great. Wayne Parker there, mechanicking. Looks like he's mechanicking for Peter Kildemand tonight. They'll know each other from Swindon. Wayne actually rode here for Oxford for the junior side many years ago. Good to see him in the pits again. So yeah, it could be an interesting night if Peter Kildemand doesn't come back to tapes for the home side. Give Peter Schroeck something to do. It's not looking too great, considering he's supposed to be out in the next heat. That'll be a real shame. I was looking forward to seeing Peter again. Had a quick hello in the pits earlier on. Hazard a guess that his evening's done. We'll try and get word of that if we can. I guess we'll know in the next heat. So Jeremy Courtney, promoter here, just putting in a few more laps. The track even again. So we saw in the first couple of heats, a couple of the home riders just putting their back wheel out a little bit wider in turn 2, and it not really working. I think Rohan did it, and then Francis, I think, tried it in heat number 2. But as the night goes on, that line does appear, and you can get a run around 1 and 2 a little bit wider. It's just not happening as yet. And then we just saw Magic go across the corner a little bit before straightening up and getting that drive down the straight in that last heat to join Francis Gusts out front again. So tough start to the season for Luke Killeen, but it'll come good. Just while we've got the tractor out, what we'll do is we'll bring you a heat from this fixture, these two sides, from last season. Enjoy. Yeah, Michael Palmtoft off the starting side in the white helmet colour. Erik RISS, blue. He'll be off gate 2. Patrick Vodolo, he's in yellow off of gate 3. And Rohan TUNGATE, unbeaten so far, he's in red off of gate number 4. 39 all. Massive heat in the context of this meeting. Heat 14. Green light on. Tapes go up and away we go. Looking like Michael Palm. Whoa, that's a big tight first turn. What can Erik do? Can he get the run up the inside of Michael Palmtoft? Yes, he does. Well done, Erik RISS. Gets himself out front. Michael Palmtoft sat in second. Patrick Vodolo in second. Michael Palmtoft in third.
And here comes Rohan. Going right round the outside. Can he come round and join his teammate? He's definitely got the pace. Victor, oh, it's getting tight there.
He's gone in big, he's going to look for the outside run. Patrick's locked up a little bit, he's looked inside. Rohan's taken full advantage. Superb from Rohan TUNGATE. Patrick Vodolo just had a look inside him. Before he knew it, Rohan had come around the outside. Erik RISS out front. Rohan TUNGATE's got himself into second. Patrick Vodolo in third. Michael Palmtoft in fourth. This is exactly what Oxford would have wanted, Rory.
Yeah, they've got this one dialed in now. Eric's come to the party, and Rohan just showing his class. Wound it up, didn't panic, knew he had the speed, and they've ended with a 5-1.
Big 5-1. Vodolo third. Michael Palmtoft at the back. 5-1 to the Oxford Spires. Makes it 44-40. That's what they've needed. That's the biggest gap they've had all night, and they've got it going into heat 15. That could be pivotal. So Erik RISS with the win. Rohan TUNGATE second. Patrick Rogerlow in third, and Michael Palm-Toft at the back. 5-1 Oxford Spires in that one. Makes it 40. Yeah, terrific heat that one from last season. So yeah, we've had word that Peter Kildemand sadly has withdrawn from the meeting, which is a real shame. I was looking forward to seeing Peter, as I know the home fans were here. So he will not be in the remainder of this meeting. So I give Peter Schroeck a bit of work to do. He's going to have to fill that gap for the next few heats of Peter's. But we wish him all the best. We hope it is just a bit of a precaution. He did take a hell of a whack coming down there. And if you're not 100%, you just can't ride these bikes. So it is good that he sits out. Louis Kerr there, helping in the Kings Lynn pits. So just a quick skim of the other meetings that are going on at the moment. Leicester Birmingham's an interesting one. Leicester 20, Birmingham 22 at the moment. So Birmingham giving it a go. Fair play to them. Riders have dialed in there. A few heat wins. Matty Zagar unbeaten. Toby Muslak only dropping a point. 2 second places for Michael Jepsen Jensen. And then over at Ipswich, well, it's a different story there at the moment. Ipswich really putting Bellevue to the sword. 18-6 on the night. Wins for Jason Doyle, Tom Brennan, Emil Saifutinov, Dan Thompson. A couple of 5-1s in the mix. So Bellevue finding the going pretty tough there. There's a long way back for them. So the winners of this one going to be facing tough opponents. So we are out. Referee's got it moving. We're a minute and a half away from heat number 5. On the inside, Richard Lawson, second outing for him. Winner first time out. He's going to be in yellow for Kings Lynn. Off of gate 2, Charles Wright. Solid second place for him first time out. He's in red helmet colour. Ben Cook failed to score in the opening heat. He's in white off of gate number 3. And Francis Gush going to be a busy man tonight. Winner last time out. He's going to be coming out as that rider replacement for Peter Kildemand off of gate 4 in blue for the home side. So let's see what this brings. Let's see if Francis Gusts can bring to the party what he did in the last heat. Looked fantastic, looked quick. We've had a winner pretty much from all gates now, so it's an even spread. You make the gate, you've got a good chance of winning. But we've seen a couple of close races so far, which is really good. It's what we want to see. We don't want to see strung out processional racing. So start marshal calls them in. 30 seconds till tapes up. Richard Lawson on the inside. Charles Wright gate 2. Ben Cook gate 3. Francis Gusts comes in for Peter Kildemand gate 4. 10 tools, the sponsors of heat number 5. Tapes up and away we go. It's looking like a good start, but keep an eye on Francis Gusts. He's come all the way off of 4. That's a fantastic start. I was just about to say a great gate from the Lynn pair boys, and Gusts round the outside, flying from the tapes. He's out front, packed into second and third at the minute is the Kings Lynn Stars. Charles Wright working that inside line. Is he going to be able to get up and get in amongst the points and get ahead of Ben Cook? He's going out wide where he did before, really tight. Ben Cook pushes him all the way to the fence. Another great race. Francis Gusts, he's out front. Richard Lawson chasing him down. Ben Cook third, and it's Charles Wright in fourth. That's what we want to keep an eye on. He's really going deep and wide, as they're all starting to do in that turn 4. He's got 4 laps. Has he got enough to get up and challenge Ben Cook? He's riding a nice inside line round 1 and 2. Looks like Francis Gusts has got another win in the bag here. Home fans are going to have a new favourite. It is a second for Richard Lawson. It's a third for Ben Cook, and try as he might, Charles Wright couldn't get up in amongst the points. So it is a shared heat, 3-3, with Francis Gusts turning into a bit of a trump card, potentially for the home side. But the away side will be happy. They consolidate their position. There we go, confirmation, 3-3 scoreline in heat number 5. Francis Gusts with the win, Richard Lawson in second. Teammate Ben Cook, they packed in Kings Lynn second and third. Charles Wright at the back, so 3-3. Keeping the scores close on the night, but Oxford need a couple of heat advantages to eat into that. So keep an eye. I was all about to scream about the Kings Lynn Stars at the start here. And then Francis Gusts from gate 4 with a worldie round the brave first turn. Put it over the top of Ben Cook here. You can see him all over Ben. That's really tight. Fantastic first 2 turns from Francis Gusts. Really good, then pulled away. And to be honest, he was comfortable then out front. Richard Lawson was on his tail, but Francis wasn't challenged at all. The battle was whether Charles Wright could get up and take something off of Ben Cook. Looked like he might do on a couple of occasions. There was a really wide line. This might be the one. Got really tight in there, but Ben put his back wheel out, you know, fairly into the line that Charles wanted to take, and that just bolted Charles's run. And then he couldn't make inroads from there. So another good race. Another decent scoreline for the away side. We can see the ruts starting to form. That's the choices the riders make when they come up to tapes. That's why they jump off the bike. That's why they dig around, pack the rut in, try and get as much traction out of the rut as they can. When you consider only five races in, they're quite deep ruts there across 1, 2 and 3. Not looking so much on gate 4 at the moment. So riders coming around for heat number 6. The Real Mini Cooper, the Real Mini Company, they sponsors of heat number 6. Referee Dave Wattersy's put a couple of minutes on. Riders are coming round. They'll have their 2 minutes to garden. Pack in the gate that they want to, pack in the rut, sorry, that they want to work from. A couple of wins off of 4 now. Niels, Kristian, Iversen and Francis Gusts have both gone from out there. There's Erik RISS. So Rohan and Erik got 2nd and 3rd, first time out. So here we go, heat number 6. Off the inside, Rohan TUNGATE, 2 points first time out, he'll be in the red helmet colour. Kvech, 1 point first time out, he's going to be in white for Killeen off of gate number 2. Erik RISS, paid 3rd in his first ride behind Rohan, he's going to be in blue off of gate 3. And Chris Harris followed his partner Ashton BOUGHEN home in heat number 2. He will be in yellow off of gate number 4. So again, strong heat. Rohan TUNGATE was superb here last season. He's going to be hoping, the home fans are going to be hoping he can pop out the start. But Chris Harris will have watched that last heat and seen what Francis Gusts did from that gate 4. So if you can make the gate and get across, got to be brave coming around 1 and 2. Very tight between Ben and Francis in that last one. But Francis Gusts got over the top to take the win for the home side. So here we go, heat number 6. 14-16 on the night. We've got a close meeting. We've had some good racing. Good start to the season so far in terms of entertainment. Which way is this one going to go? Start Marshall works the boys into line. Everyone's up, everyone's ready. Rohan TUNGATE, Erik RISS, Kvech, Chris Harris. Heat number 6 takes her up and away we go. Looks like a good one off the inside there from Rohan TUNGATE, but keep an eye on Chris Harris. He's used that same line. Rohan will move out and shut that door, which he does. Shut that door. Still looking, Chris, he's still looking wide, and he's done it. That's a phenomenal move. And oh, they've double teamed it. Kvech up the inside. Can Rohan hit back? There's not a lot of grip out there, and it's struggling to get a line. If Rohan can keep that line down the back straight and go deep into 3 and 4, which he's done, but Killeen sandwiched him coming off of that turn. Whoa, that was close going in there. Rohan's come off. Lucky that he didn't collect any back wheels. I think that one's going to be stopped, and it wouldn't surprise me if that one was called. Red lights come on, Rohan's still down on the deck. Rohan went in really hot there into turn 1. Thankfully he didn't collect the back wheel. Whoa, he just seemed straighten up there, that was close, and then just lost the back end. Hopefully he's okay. The bike did just follow him in there. Hopefully that's just a precaution. I imagine he'll award that. Rohan's up on his feet. Again, that's the most important thing. I imagine that's going to be awarded, that one. Yeah, I think the referee's awarded that one. Wouldn't surprise me, they were looking pretty comfortable out front. Rohan was the one that was putting the pressure on the front 2. Erik was behind him at the time. It's just not going the way of the Spires tonight. So I think the win went to Chris Harris. Second's gone to Kvech. Third will be Erik RISS, and it was a fall for Rohan. Thankfully he's okay. 15-21. We will go to. There's the confirmed. Chris Harris with the win. Kvech second, awarded that one. Erik RISS in third. Rohan coming off at the back. Thankfully he's okay. Thankfully collected no back wheels when he just went in there a bit hot. It's a bit unlucky. But it is a 5-1 to the away side. It just extends their lead on the night, the lead on aggregate. So there shouldn't be any I don't anticipate there's any tactical changes in this next one. So I've seen a couple of good races so far, a couple of close heats. You can see the boys are trying, they're going out wide to try and get that run around very, very tight. It's a phenomenal move from Chris Harris in that last one, coming around turns 3 and 4. But inches from the fence, that's where that line is at the minute, which, you know, it can get a bit dangerous, but that's the nature of the beast. If you want to get round, that is the line to get round. Because with turns 3 and 4, if you keep it tight, you can ride a nice line, but when there is so much grip out wide and there's so much opportunity to get speed and forward traction, you know, that you're just going to get done. So that is going to be the line. You can see all the boys are kind of riding that line at the moment. So there's just a tiny hold up here. No, there's the 2 minutes. The referee's getting moving. I was just looking over to see if anything was going on there. So we're going to see Nicolai KLINDT there in white for the away side. He's going to be joined by teammate Niels Kristian Iversen. They've got a 4-2 in their opening heat. And surprise, surprise, Francis Gusts is out again. He's going to be joined by Maciej JANOWSKI. So a couple of riders that have had success tonight. Magic winner first time out, behind Francis Gusts, paid win. There's Niels just getting pushed away. So heat number 7, sponsored by Lyon Sunderland Work Specialists. We've got Nicolai KLINDT off the inside in white for Kings Lynn. Next in Maciej JANOWSKI in red for Oxford. Yellow gate 3, Niels Kristian Iversen for Kings Lynn, and Francis Gusts, great night for him so far. He's on 7 points. He's going to be in blue off of the outside, turning into a fan favourite here already. And this could well be an entertaining heat. Let's hope so. So riders moving up to take, just 20 seconds to go. To be honest, we've pretty much gone before we've got anywhere near the 2 minutes in the first 5 or 6 heats. So heat number 7, let's see what it brings. Maciej JANOWSKI, Francis Gusts, Nicolai KLINDT, Niels Kristian Iversen. Tapes up and away we go. Even break. Maciej JANOWSKI's just got the run. Niels Kristian Iversen moved out very clever, but keep an eye on Francis Gusts. He's gone between the line, the Kings Lynn pair. Can he ride that line? Magic stopping Niels Kristian Iversen out wide. Whoa, that's really close. Maciej JANOWSKI out front, Niels Kristian Iversen second. Francis Gusts is going wider. That line inside is working for Niels Kristian Iversen there. He just pulled closer up to Maciej JANOWSKI. Francis Gusts is putting it wider coming into turns 4 again. Really close out front. Maciej JANOWSKI out front. Niels Kristian Iversen second. Francis Gusts is working every inch of this track in third. And Nicolai KLINDT just tailed off a little bit at the back. But keep an eye out front. This is a really close battle. Maciej JANOWSKI working that outside line a little bit more than Niels Kristian Iversen. And on this time, they've all gone a little bit wider. Francis Gusts just loses a bit of ground there, but Maciej JANOWSKI out front looks like he's going to get another win this evening. Yes, he is. Niels Kristian Iversen in second, Francis Gusts in third, Nicolai KLINDT at the back. So another entertaining race. No space between any of them in that one, really. Nicolai just dropped away a tiny bit. Niels Kristian all the time on the back wheel. So win for Maciej JANOWSKI in red, second for Niels Kristian Iversen in yellow, third Francis Gusts for the home side in blue, and Nicolai KLINDT at the back. So another heat advantage for the home side, 4-2. Again, that just eats into the opposition's lead a little bit. The goal on the night now has got to try and be to win this meeting. Really competitive first turn. Keep an eye, it was all going off really tight there. Niels went wide and he stopped the line of France, but then I thought here that France were going to get the run between the two of them. But Niels is just in the ascendancy where he is there, going into 3 and 4 a little bit wider. And he's put it right out in that dirt, really close between the three of them. Look at the drive that Niels got coming down the home straight there. And again there, France has almost collected the back wheel. You see Niels there, he's coming off quite tight off of 2 and kind of getting in more of an inside run, and that works a couple of times to his advantage. But not enough to get himself out front. So page 6 so far tonight for Maciej JANOWSKI. He's having a good night. Francis Gusts, he's having a great night. He's really enjoying himself out there. And that's the thing, you know, that's what it's all about. Yeah, you know, Oxford will obviously want the team to get over the line and get a victory, but if they can just see those little chinks of light in performances like Maciej tonight and like Francis Gusts, that will give them the confidence that the season's going to get better. Rohan, he's looking quick tonight. He's not showing on his scorecard yet, with that fall in his second one. Here's Maciej JANOWSKI, great rider to have in the pits, I'm sure. Trying to keep my programme up to speed, up to date. Let's have a quick skim of the other meetings this evening, just while we've got a tiny bit of track grading going on. Obviously feel the need to do a little bit again. Leicester 26, Birmingham 28, so the Brummers are still holding a slight advantage there away, which will surprise a lot of people. Maddie Zagar 3 wins from 3 rides. It looks like he's finding his feet back in British Speedway, which is good to see. And over at Ipswich, has the situation improved at all for Bellevue? Has it gone from bad to worse? 29-13, so it's a tough night for them so far. But they've registered a heat win in Dan Bewley, and Jamie Lizzie's picked up a couple of second places. I think the big surprise there is that Brady Kurtz has got no points from 2 rides, which, you know, any rider can have that type of result. It happens, but the way that Brady's been riding, I'd say that was quite a shock. Quite a shock at the moment. But some good speedway so far. There's some gate stats. Points are coming across the board. 3 wins from the outside. That is the place to be at the minute, but you can pop out of any of those gates. Gate 4 is the place to be. 1's the tricky one at the moment. You can see the grooves behind the graphic. You can see coming off of 1 there, there's some deeper grooves and a bit more going on that start line than there is on the others. Nicolai KLINDT, conversation with Ben Cook there. 2 riders for the away side that you know have worked hard in their first, but they've only got a point apiece, those 2. A bit of work from Nicolai. One of those riders, Nicolai, that when he's on it and he's dialed in, scores good points, big points, and he'll be disappointed with 1 point from 2 rides. There's the King's Lynn scorecard so far, so we'll just pick a couple of those out. You can see the 5 pointers in there. Richard Lawson, solid. Niels, Kristian, Iversen a win and a second, the same, solid. And then Chris Harris, still unbeaten, winning a paid behind Ashton BOUGHEN. He's doing exactly what everybody would expect him to do from reserve. And for the home side, slim pickings really, but you move down and you look at Maciej JANOWSKI with his 5+1 unbeaten from his 2, and Francis Gusts, great return on his home debut here. 8 points from his 4 rides, can't ask much more from him than that. Unfortunately, the home side have lost Peter Kildemand, as you well know, and they'll just be hoping that in the second half of this meeting, Erik RISS, Charles Wright. It seems odd that Charles only got 2 points because, you know, he's only had 2 rides, but in that second one, you work your socks off to try and get in amongst it, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. But it's early days for all these teams. If you're winning, it's fantastic. If you're not, it's about finding the reasons why, sticking together, working as a unit. You don't want to see anybody dropped early on. You want to see clubs and managers and promoters supporting riders that might not be on it just yet, but Popular figure here, Luke Killeen. He rode for all 3 of the Oxford sides last year. He was fantastic for the Chargers, almost unbeatable around here for them, and really stepped up on occasion for the Cheetahs in the Premiership, in the Championship. Sorry. Oh, there we go. That's what Magic is watching. Hope he's paid for that. Hope he's paid for that stream. That's what we bring. A lot of the riders do that. And they do sit, whether it's BSN or they sit and watch the heats again. So you're doing well so far, Magic. Having a good night. So heat number 8 is fast approaching. We're going to only see Luke Killeen for the 2nd time this evening. Got replaced in his 2nd ride. Tough start to the season for him. You know, away at a track he might not have had that much exposure to. And then a last place first time out. So just while we've got this bit of a break again, let's take in another video between Oxford and Kings Lynn from last season. Patrick Vogelo, he will join them in the yellow helmet colour. He'll be off the inside. Charles Wright there in red, gate 2. Niels Kristian Iversen has really come into this meeting. He's off of gate 3 in the white helmet colour. And Ashton BOUGHEN, a man that can gate. We've seen him do it. He'll be in the blue helmet colour off of gate 4. So there we go, heat number 12. 2 minutes is up. Green light will be on any second now. Charles Wright, Ashton BOUGHEN, Niels Kristian Iversen, Patrick Vogelo. Here we go, heat number 12. Tapes go up and away we go. Charles Wright off of 2 has made a great gate. Niels Kristian Iversen, will he get a run around the outside? He's got pace, he's got plenty of speed. Just can't find a way through. So Charles Wright with the all-important lead at the moment.
Got him.
Oh, cuts his nose right off there, Niels Kristian Iversen. Charles gives it back to him. Will Charles push him wide? Yes, he does. Have some of that.
And Niels goes back again.
Niels looking back up the inside. Great race so far, Rory.
Yeah. Oh, he's got him. No, he's got him.
Oh, all 4 down. All 4 down. Well done to the boys at the back for laying that down. Ashton BOUGHEN, for a young man. That was very well done. Yeah, great heat. Thankfully, none of those boys were hurt from that incident, but it was yeah, great heat leading up to that spill. I remember that meeting really well. It was a close result here last season. So just briefly, quickly looking back to the records last year for both these sides. I know they've got rider changes and they've got different riders in the mix, but the home record for Oxford was really good in the league. They didn't compete in the Knockout Cup last year, but they won 9 of their home meetings. They drew 1 and they lost 2. But the problem for them was that their points difference at home was just 42 points. Whereas you compare that to Sheffield, who finished top of the league, theirs was 159. So what it did is it just made it really... They were getting home wins, but they were getting no aggregate points. And ultimately, that probably is what cost them a playoff spot last year. They just didn't have enough aggregate points to get into those playoffs because their home wins... The meetings were fantastic, all really close, but they were just not beating a team by 8, 10, 12 points to battle for the aggregate point when they went away from home. And the flip side was Kings Lynn, their away record. They only won 2 and lost 11 of league and cup last year. And their points difference was in the league was minus 131, and again Sheffield's was minus 38. So you can see the difference. You can see the difference in their home and away form last year. But the head-to-head here, it was 47-43, one of the meetings, and it was 54-36 the other one. So there was one really close meeting here, and then there was one where Oxford just pulled away. Rohan TUNGATE top scored in both them last year against Kings Lynn, and I think Toby Muslak before he left Kings Lynn, he top scored here early in the season, and then it was Niels Kristian later in the year. So yeah, they had a couple of good head-to-heads last year. And Oxford's home form was great, but they just needed to win by more points. They won a lot of meetings, but just not got those aggregate points. And Kings Lynn's away form wasn't great. So this will be positive for Rob Lyon. He'll be pleased with what he's seen so far. Erik RISS, 2 third places so far. He's out in this one. Ashton BOUGHEN a win and a last. He's out in this one. So Luke Killeen will come in. Luke Killeen's in this one, sorry. Yeah, Luke Killeen's in this one. And Richard Lawson and Ashton BOUGHEN for the away side. And again, coming into Heat 8 with the likes of Richard Lawson, that's a strong position to be in for Kings Lynn at the start of the season with the way their side is made up. But Oxford will be hoping that Erik and Luke can jump out the start here. So heat number 8, sponsored by Abingdon Beds. On the inside, Ashton BOUGHEN, yellow for Kings Lynn. Next to him, Killeen in blue for Oxford. Richard Lawson, white, gate 3 for the away side, and Erik RISS, red off the outside for the Oxford Spires. Abingdon Beds, sponsors of heat number 8 with 19.23. Close on the night, sadly not close on the aggregate for Oxford. Good news for Kings Lynn. So all 4 boys off the bike, having a dig, bit of gardening, trying to pack their groove, their chosen groove, chosen rut. So yeah, I was just touch on Killeen before we went to the video. He's had a tough start to the season. He's a cracking rider, loads of potential, and Oxford will give him the support and the backing that he needs to start scoring some points. And he's more than capable of getting in amongst it and scoring well for the Spires. So here we go, heat number 8. Tapes up and away we go. Richard Lawson off the inside's made a good one. Erik RISS off the outside's gone all the way round. Fantastic move from Erik RISS, all the way round, deep up against the bag. Comes out on top, really brave move, really strong move. He's got himself out front. Second place at the moment is Richard Lawson. Third is Ashton BOUGHEN, and Killeen battling away at the back to try and get in amongst it ahead of Ashton BOUGHEN for that solitary point. But Erik RISS did all of his work in the opening 2 turns from gate number 4, and if you're brave enough and quick enough out of that start, you can really make that work. Killeen's gone in really hot and deep there, and that's killed the heat for him really with a lap to go. It is Erik RISS out front, looking good, looking fast, riding a nice line. Richard Lawson tucked into second, Ashton BOUGHEN in third. Killeen's kept on the gas, but he went really wide going into turn 2 last time out, and that's finished off his heat. But it is a heat winner for Erik RISS. He comes to the party, followed home by Richard Lawson and Ashton BOUGHEN for the away side. Share of the spoils in that one. Just stems the flow a tiny bit. Gives Erik RISS a good boost with a heat win. So there we go, Erik RISS with the win. Richard Lawson second, Ashton BOUGHEN in third. Killeen tried for a couple of laps there to get in amongst it, just couldn't get up, and then eventually just got in a bit of bother. Went a little bit wide, and that put pay to his heat. So 3-3 scoreline. Here we can see it from the tapes. Keep an eye on. Gate 4's a dream to go out of at the minute. You've got to make the gate, but then you've got to be brave and get over the top. So keep an eye on Erik. He goes really deep. Loads of pull up into that first turn. And look, he's not out front there. He just sticks his back wheel in that deep stuff, round the outside of Richard Lawson. And then from that moment on, that was his really. Heat was done. Did all of his work there. 22-26 is the progressive score. 59-79 on the on aggregate. But that's the kind of heats you'd be looking at Killeen and Ashton BOUGHEN in those type of heats. And we've got a 4-point gap on the night. And at the moment, Luke has failed to score, and Ashton BOUGHEN's got 4 points for the away side. So that's the small difference at the moment. Luke will come good, there's no question about that. Just having a tough start to the season. There you go, we've had heat number 8, we're on to heat number 9. It is 22-26, SD Timo car sales. Spencer Timo, great backer of this club, obviously former rider as well. He's the sponsor of this heat, which is going to see Charles Wright in red. It won't see Peter Kildemand in blue. We will see a change for him. And really to have Jan Kvech and Chris Harris, that's a big pairing for the away side. So here we go. SD Timo car sales off the inside. In white is going to be Jan Kvech. Next to him, Francis Gusts. He comes in again, no surprise there in blue for the home side. Chris Harris, yellow off of gate 3, unbeaten so far. Charles Wright, 2 points, red. He's off of the outside, and if he can make it work like the others have, Charles could get himself a heat win in this one. But he's up against the unbeaten Chris Harris so far, and a man in Francis Gusts who's in fantastic form. And Jan Kvech with paid 4 so far. He's not having a bad night either. Gate 4's given us 3 or 4 heat winners so far, and spectacular first 2 turns. So what's the mindset of Chris Harris? Is it to go a bit deeper into the turn to try and stop the run of Charles Wright around the outside? Will Jan Kvech keep it tight if he makes the gate off the inside, or will he drift across to try and stop a run? Let's wait and see. Heat number 9. Start marshal walks away, tapes go up and away we go. He's missed the start off for 4. Chris Harris goes in that deep stuff. Charles Wright, excellent first 2 turns, cuts up the inside. Back up in front of Chris Harris. Now he's going to go deep here. Jan Kvech's held it tight. Charles Wright round the outside. Will he get the run down the back straight? Not this time. Chris Harris is still going outside in that deep stuff. Oh, Charles lifts a little bit like he did in the Ben Fund, and that really has put his challenge to bed. I would imagine he's lucky to stay on the back of the bike there. Jan Kvech out front. Chris Harris looks like he's going to continue unbeaten if he can stay on. He's in 2nd place. Charles Wright in 3rd. And Francis Gusts looks like he's going to come home at the back for the first time. First time tonight. Killeen pairing out front, riding together. A bit of team riding. Chris Harris outside, Jan Kvech inside. Charles was really unlucky there, just caught plenty of grip. Bike went up. He didn't come off the back, thankfully, but it does mean a win for the away side. Chris Harris takes the flag. Jan Kvech in 2nd. Charles did stay in there for that 3rd place. So I'm turning into a broken record. Chris Harris unbeaten this season. Just pleased that Charles managed to stay on the back of that when it rodeoed up, lifted up violently, and he was hanging off the back, managed to get it down. Chris Harris takes the win. 24 points on aggregate, so the fix is almost done. There we go, there's the result. It was a 5-1 to the away side. There we go, Chris Harris, almost too quick for me. Chris Harris was the winner, Jan Kvech in 2nd, Charles Wright hung on for 3rd, and Francis Gusts for the first time comes home in last place. 5-1, 23-31 on the night, 60-84 on aggregate. Yeah, and unfortunately Charles off a 4 just missed the gate. A tiny bit of movement there, not when the tapes went up. You can see he's already behind there. Chris is out in the deep stuff. But watch Charles, he comes up the inside there, really smart line to get back up. And I just thought here, he's carrying a load of speed as he went across the back straight, deeper into turns 3. Just wondered whether he could carry that around 4, but Jan Kvech did well to come off the line and just kind of move across him. And then Chris got back out in the deep stuff. Here we go, look at Charles. Whoa, he did really well to get that back down again, but scrubs off all the speed. Nothing left in the tank there then, and Chris just pulled away. Joined his teammate out front, and they took the big 5-1. DJ Killeen spinning the desk as he always does. Puts on a good show. Plenty of good music for the crowd in between heats. Knows what he likes to play. No country though. Need to ask him for a bit more country. An acquired taste. So we're going to move on for heat number 10. Dave Watter's referee's already got the clock ticking. That's Niels Kristian Iversen just getting pushed away there. He's going to be joined by Nicolai KLINDT. And we are going to see Erik RISS and Rohan TUNGATE. Rohan's going to be off for 4. Here we go. So heat number 10. Fortress Alarms, sponsors of heat number 10. Niels Kristian Iversen off the inside in yellow. Erik RISS blue, gate 2 for Oxford. Nicolai KLINDT white, gate 3 for Lynn, and Rohan TUNGATE red off of gate 4. Faller last time out. He's going to be looking to get in amongst the points in this one. So again, strong lineup. Australian, German, and the Danish pairing for the away side. Box there, all lights on. Okay, riders, 20 seconds till tapes up. Okay, boys into line. Heat 10, Rohan TUNGATE, Erik RISS, Nicolai KLINDT, Niels, Kristian Iversen. 23:31 on the night. Let's see if Oxford can get a heat advantage in this one. Star Marshal walks away, tapes go up. Oh, here we're going to have this one pulled back. Erik RISS lifts from the start. It's always horrible, that. Always horrible. Doesn't matter how many times these riders make starts, ride these bikes, there's always a possibility from the tapes, and you come down with such a thud. Remember, these bikes pull away quicker than an F1 car, like rocket ships out the start. And unfortunately for Erik, that is going to be uncomfortable. And the paramedic straight with him. Really unfortunate when that happens. It's one of those things you can't account for. When it catches you, it's too late to do anything about it. Hopefully this is just a bit winded with Erik at the minute. He's up on his feet. That's good news. Bruising night so far for the Spires. There's Peter Kildemand, Rohan TUNGATE, and now Erik RISS that have all bit the dust. But he will be excluded from this one. That's the cause of the stoppage. Unfortunately for Erik, winner last time out. And you can see it from the start. Just keep an eye on Erik, gate 2 in blue. Tapes go up. And just up, 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 and off the back. There's nothing you can do. You can't stop that once that motion happens, especially at the start. You can see him holding his top of his buttocks, lower back. That's what would have taken the hit as he came down. That feel quite bruised at the moment. Yeah, you might have spotted this. That's essentially a Ben Fun banner, isn't it, really? But what that's doing is that's being positioned at every track now, because that stops the line there from the rider into the starting tape pole on the left-hand side there. So you'll find that at every track now, just in case a rider's coming down the home straight, something goes wrong, they veer into the centre green. That padded block is there to stop them from going into the start gate. So, and it also is a nice bit of advertising for the Riders Benevolent Fund, which was obviously the meeting here, won by Tom Brennan at the weekend, followed on from the media day, which was a huge success. But yeah, you should spot them up and down the tracks. There's another implement to try and help the riders. That's the view from the tapes, going up into the first turn. Yeah, it's been a bruising night so far for the Spires. One to learn from and move on. Like I say, we've seen Rohan, now Erik, and Peter Kildemand all come to grief. Charles Wright was very close coming off a turn 2 in that last one. When the bike lifted, thankfully he didn't come off the back. Sometimes it's just not your day. But you can't say it's not for the want of quality in the team, because they do have the quality in the team. It's just a case of getting them all clicking and dialing in, working together. And a bit of luck on your side as well. So the ref has put the 2 minutes back on. There's a minute and a half until tapes up. Again, none of these 3 riders were involved in that incident. It was just Erik on his own from the start. Shouldn't have any hold up at the start. Although we are waiting for Niels Kristian Iversen, who's yet to come out of the pits. He's getting pushed off now. He's got a minute to get around. He's got loads of time. You can see Nicolai packing in, dragging and packing. Get his back wheel on that spot, and hopefully bags the traction. So you can see there Erik RISS off gate 2, he's going to be excluded, he's not in this one. Niels Kristian will have a free run up to the first turn, he's going to be in yellow off of gate number 1. Off of gate 3 will be Nicolai KLINDT in the white helmet colour for Lynn, and then Rohan TUNGATE will go from 4 in the red helmet colour, the sole survivor in this one for the home side. with Erik applying a coal bag to his RS in the pits. Hopefully he's okay. So let's go again. See how we go. Rohan running solo up against the Danish pairing of Nicolai and Niels. Two minutes are up here. Shouldn't pull away when the 2 minutes are up. Star Marshal walks away. Tapes go up. All three boys away safely this time. Niels from the inside. Rohan blasts from the outside. Can he keep that on down the back straight? Niels has got ahead of him. He manages to stay in front of Nicolai KLINDT. Packs into second. Rohan. Niels out front. He's looking really fast tonight, Niels Kristian Iversen. A win in the second so far. Rohan's just got to keep, does he stick or twist here? Because he's got Nicolai all over the back of him, but he's going to want to try and get up and get in amongst Niels Kristian out front to try and take that win. The boys are definitely not trying that outside line in turn 2. It's just not there tonight. It's a very wide outside run. As you can see, Niels Kristian Iversen there, he's really out in that stuff. Loads of traction down the back straight, down the home straight. Into the last lap, Niels Kristian Iversen, Rohan TUNGATE, Nicolai KLINDT buzzing around all over the back of Rohan, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get up into that second place. Likewise, Rohan cannot get up to challenge Niels Kristian Iversen, who takes the win from Rohan TUNGATE, with Nicolai KLINDT in third place. So tried his hardest there, Rohan. Not able to get up and challenge Niels Kristian Iversen. I have to say he's looking quick. He's looking good, Niels. There's the confirmed score. It is another heat advantage to the away side. Niels Kristian Iversen with the win. Rohan TUNGATE in second. Nicolai KLINDT in third. Erik RISS wasn't in that one. He was out, excluded first run into that heat. So it is a 4-2 to the away side. 25-35, 10 points on the night. The meeting, the aggregate is essentially it's over. Kings Lynn move into the next round of the Knockout Cup. The Spires can lick their wounds. Hopefully all come back after this and go again. So we can see the three of them from the tapes here. Rohan made a good gate off of 4, as did Niels off of the inside. And Rohan's in a good position here, but just moves across the corner a little bit. And Niels Kristian's got the straight line speed. He gets his wheels in line, and then it's tricky for Rohan, you know. Do you go all out and try and get up, and you know, could he try the outside line on turns 2 and see if he can land a blow on Niels? But does that mean he loses his second place to Nicolai, who was all over the back of him? So there you can see our footage. That's in the bar. So the meetings are streamed inside the stadium as well. So if you're sat in the bar, you do get the replays in the bar here. For those that enjoy being in the warm, watching their speedway rather than outside. So riders already around for heat number 11. 10-point gap on the night now. But they've got a couple of the more successful Spires coming into this one. Off the inside in red, Maciej JANOWSKI unbeaten so far, red helmet colour. Gate 2, Ben Cook for Kings Lynn. Paid 2 points so far for him. Francis Gusts, 8 points, blue helmet colour. Gate 3 for Oxford, and Richard Lawson, a solid 7 for him. He's in yellow off of the outside for Kings Lynn. Smiths of Bletchingley, they're the sponsors of heat number 11. So Magic's looked good so far. He's taken a paid win behind Francis Gusts early on in heat number 4, and then he took the checkered flag in heat number 7. He'll be hoping to follow that here with a win in heat 11. Coming up against Ben Cook, who's got 1 point on the board so far. Ben and Richard Lawson is having a good night. 7 points for him so far. 7 on the board, and I think he might even have a paid one in there as well. Possibly, maybe not. Maybe it's 7 flat for him. Tiny clutch adjustment there. Clutch adjustment there for Magic off the inside. Off that Inside gate. A real mix of gate wins tonight. Everything's given us winners. Even start. So heat number 11. Let's see what the home boys can produce in this one. It's a flyer from the home pairing, but keep an eye. Richard Lawson. Francis Gusts has moved out, but watch Richard Lawson up in front of Francis Gusts. Can he get the drop over the top of Maciej JANOWSKI? I think he just might. He's got the outside line, and Francis Gusts is putting an outside line on Ben Cook as well. Two really close battles coming in there, which for this moment in time, the Killeen Stars have come out on top. Richard Lawson out front, Maciej JANOWSKI in second, Ben Cook in third, Francis Gusts at the back. Maciej JANOWSKI's now putting it to Richard Lawson out front. Sticking to the inside here a tiny bit rather than pushing it too wide. Really close, two battles. There's a battle out front, there's a battle for third. Can Francis Gusts get up to challenge Ben Cook? Lap to go. What has Maciej got? Richard Lawson's riding a nice steady ride, but Maciej's kept it really tight there, and he's going to get a run up the inside. Oh, Richard Lawson just comes back over the top of him. You're not coming through there, but keep an eye on the last corner. Maciej up the inside. He's done him on the line. Maciej JANOWSKI from Richard Lawson. Fantastic line there coming off of Ben 4 by Maciej JANOWSKI. Great race, Richard Lawson and Maciej JANOWSKI there. And I think Ben Cook held on to that third place. I was too focused on what was going on out front. I'm not going to write in my programme yet that was Maciej JANOWSKI, and I'm pretty confident it was. Great last lap from those two. Richard put it back over the top of Maciej there, and then Maciej just kept it really, look how tight he's riding that line. You can see Richard really kicking to go forward. Yeah, that's Maciej. A win for Maciej JANOWSKI. Keeps his unbeaten night going. Excellent heat, more good speed rate. The scoreline might be getting away from them, but the racing's still fantastic. Yeah, there it is confirmed. Maciej JANOWSKI with the win in red. Richard Lawson second, Ben Cook third, so the Stars pack in for second and third. Francis Gusts really trying for a couple of laps, but just couldn't get in amongst it there with Ben and Richard. So it's a 3-3 scoreline, 28-38 on the night, 65-91 on aggregate. Home fans happy with that one. It's always tough for a reserve like Francis Gusts. Start off the meeting so well, and then you want to try and carry that on, but you're coming up against some great riders, some tough heats. So there's absolutely nothing to say to him for his couple of last places. He's learning all the time, learning this track all the time. It just bodes really well for the season for the home side, I would say. So 4 heats to go. I can see the gate open, so I think we are going to have just a tiny bit more work done on the track. That'll be the third and final, hopefully, grade of the night, just to try and even the surface out again. So we'll just try and scan some gate stats and scores during the break here. And there you can see, look, wins from the gates, 3-2-2-4. The outside is the primary one, but you can win from anywhere. Points, less points off of 2, but 1, 3 and 4 providing some good scores. So it's pretty even across the gate. Sometimes you find you have those meetings where 1 and 3 are really stand out, or 2 and 4. But here tonight it is across the board. Chris Harris, what can we say? Even if he doesn't ride for your team, I think you still love him. He's that type of rider. He's entertaining, he's great to watch. He's the type of rider you want to pay to go and see. And there's always 100%. Even if he's got a guest shirt on, he's always 100%. So yeah, we'll just run through quickly. You can see the tail of the tape. Erik RISS with 5+1. Unfortunately in that last one for Erik. Charles Wright with his 3. Peter Kildemand obviously out early doors. Unbeaten so far for Maciej. Great night for him. Solid from Francis Gusts. Well done to him. 8 points from his 6 rides. And Luke Killeen will be hoping he can get something on the board when he comes out for his 3rd ride. And for the away side, 2+2 for Ben. He'd hope for more, I'm sure. Solid from Richard Lawson at number 2 with 9 points. Nicolai be a little bit disappointed with 2. Niels has looked really quick tonight, I think, with his 8 points. Kvech 5+2. Decent return, to be happy with those 2 paid wins. Bomber unbeaten so far, and 4+1 for Ashton BOUGHEN. He's done his job down there at reserve. So we can see as we look across those 2 score lines, the away side, they've got a couple more big hitters. And they're solid at the bottom end. But you know, they've still got Ben Cook and Nicolai KLINDT that haven't really done what they'd have hoped to have done. But it's early days. It's early days. That's the nature of the KO Cup. They're getting it in early now before the league racing starts. And if you hit the ground running, you're laughing. You're going to be in the mix. If you don't, you're going to end up going out the competition and then focusing on the league. So we're just going to have a bit of a break here while they just do the grading. I think it'll be an interval, but not an extended interval. I just think it's going to be a grade. Nicolai there again, just working on his clutch. Seems to have been down at his bike every time we've tuned in on Nicolai tonight. But from a team perspective, he'll be really happy. They're going to progress in the competition. Gets them another meeting. And what we'll do quickly is we'll just, for those that aren't keeping an eye, we'll have a scan of the updates and see what's going on elsewhere tonight. So yeah, we are 25-35 here. Over at Ipswich. It's all over bar the... I say all over bar the shouting. 62-22 on the night there at Ipswich. That is, with one heat to go, absolutely put Bellevue to the sword there. Nobody really turning up for Bellevue there, but everybody for the home side. 10-7, 8-10, 12, 8 and 7 for the home side. They've been superb and consistent tonight. Fair play to them. They're going through. Bellevue are going out. And over at Leicester, Birmingham had the advantage early on the night. It's going to be a big ask to overturn. And what, we've got one heat to go there. Yeah, still one heat to go, and Ipswich have just crept into the lead, 43-41. But lots of positives for Birmingham and Sam's there. I imagine he'd be really happy with that. Again, they seem to have got everybody scoring a couple of points there, which is good. And they've put the meeting to Leicester. They've given that a good go. It looks like Leicester will prevail. They're going through, as are Ipswich, as are Kings Lynn and Sheffield are there. So just while we've got this break, let's take in another video from this fixture last season.
4. Anders Rowe goes in yellow, gate number 1. Luke Killeen, blue, gate 2. Niels Kristian Iversen will go in white this time. He's in gate 3 with Chris Harris. He is in red off the outside. And they come to order. Let's fly, where they go. Killeen makes a decent start off gate 2, trying to force his way through on the inside of Iversen, who's made a good trap off gate 3. Killeen looks across to see where Anders Rowe is. Those already being left here, and here come the Spires through on the inside. Chris Harris around the outside. Luke Killeen through on the inside of Iversen. And once again, looking great for the home side here, as Chris Harris and Luke Killeen have found a way past Niels Kristian Iversen. No stopping Harris on the first lap, right around the outside, as he loves to do. And Luke Killeen having a fine old night so far, holding on to second ahead of the vastly experienced Niels Kristian Iversen, though. Does make a bad mistake there, runs wide. Iversen looking for the opportunity. He'll now try to leg trail style, throw it around the outside, but Killeen with a 10-metre advantage. And it's all going horribly wrong for the visitors here. Oxford unstoppable, it would seem. Down the back straight for the final time. Harris will circumnavigate the top corner. He will take it impressively enough. But Luke Killeen, what's a fine ride from him again. He defeats the vastly experienced Niels Kristian Iversen there. Fine ride from the Oxford Spires on that first lap. And quite rightly, they should come around on a lap of honour for that. And the Spires, well, already up by 14 points after just 4 races. And, well, already you can start to think about the league points. Chris Harris, there's the race result. Harris with a win from Luke Killeen. Niels Kristian Iversen in third, 5-1.
He even remains unbeaten when we put a heat out from last season. Chris Harris in great form. So yeah, the meeting done tonight for Oxford, but there's a lot of positives I think they can take from this. You know, the form of Magic is great, the form of Francis Gusts is great. Charles has had a tricky night. Rowan's got a couple of second places and a fall. There has been a heat win in there for Erik RISS. Peter Kildemand, never know, would have been lovely to see him ride tonight. It's been a little while. And Luke Killeen, probably the only blot on the real blot on the copybook for, you know, obviously they're getting beat, but it'd be nice to see Luke getting amongst the points. He's got a ride to go, which is going to potentially be a all-weather whether Peter swaps him out of the next one. We're programmed for Charles Wright, Luke Killeen, Nicolai KLINDT and Chris Harris. So Luke will either take that ride, or whether Peter Schroeck switches him into heat 14, where it will be Niels, Kristian and Ashton BOUGHEN. We shall see. But tonight now will be all about learning, moving forward. So yeah, just a little note there on the bottom of the screen. It is copyright, so you know, please buy the stream. Don't be watching it illegally. Watch it through the correct channels. That way they might pay me. If no one buys the stream, they won't pay me. Or Andy, or poor anybody else. So yeah, please buy the stream, do the right thing. You know it makes sense, as Del Boy would say. So Jamie's still in his tractor. He'll be pulling in soon. The announcer just telling everybody what's going on at the other tracks. We already know that. Leicester going through, King's Lynn going through, Ipswich definitely going through, and Sheffield there awaiting already. But always nice to win the KO Cup, but the league is what everybody is interested in. That's what they focus on. That's the main draw for everyone, I think, is the league. You want to do well in the league. So Oxford will be hoping they can regroup. King's Lynn will be hoping they can carry this form on. They've been in great form tonight. Fair play to them. They've all turned up. They've all had a good go at this. See the throttle coming off there. That's Erik RISS, I think that was. So Eric's still working on his bike. He's from a programme perspective, he's out, but whether he's going to be taking Peter Kildemand's ride in 14 potentially, or whether they're just preparing for next time, we shall see. We shall see. Rohan TUNGATE, he knows he's at least got 2 more. Definitely 1 more. He's out in 13. He'll be joined by Maciej JANOWSKI, and then obviously we've got 15 to come. Looking at it, you could always put Rohan and Charles in. You know that they're going to go in and give you 100%. Maciej, I imagine, is a shoe-in for heat 15, and for the away side, Richard Lawson with 7, Niels, Kristian Iversen with 8, Lyon Kvech with 5, page 7, Bomber. Rob Lyon's got a bigger pool to pick from, I would imagine, for tonight. So tractor is off. Sponsors are walking across the centre green, going out to enjoy a few heats from the middle. If you've never had the opportunity to do that, wherever your local track is, wherever you go and watch your speedway, if you can get onto the centre green, or the centre, I know there's not a green at King's Lynn, the centre, to watch a heat, it just gives you an incredible perspective on the speed that the boys are travelling at, and you get a real feel from the tapes, you know, the speed they travel going into the first turn. It's been a little while since I've watched, so I can't really commentate from the middle. It's been a while since I've seen a heat from the middle, but it's pretty exhilarating if you get the opportunity to do that. I know that Birmingham used to give everyone the opportunity to do that. You could essentially buy your way onto the centre green at Birmingham to watch a couple of heats for a couple of quid. I highly recommend it. So here we are. We're seeing Luke Killeen come out in 12. Again, not an easy heat for him. There's Chris Harris in yellow. We hope you've enjoyed the stream tonight. It's been a handful of really good races, close racing. The track's offered a couple of different lines to normal. Really, there's not been a line around the outside of 2 like we have seen before, but we've seen a couple of the boys come off the curb on 2 and get a really good drive coming off of 2 up the inside down the back straight. And obviously the back wheels have been deep in turn 4. A couple of them have used that to incredibly good effect. Let's just get pushed off. So it did end 46-44 at Leicester, so hats off to them. They're moving off into the next round, but also hats off to Birmingham for for giving that a good go there, and that's pleasing for the Birmingham fans, I would have thought. Tobias Muslak with 12, Michael Jepsen-Jensen with 10, Maciej Jagow with 9. He got excluded in his last one, I'm not sure what for, but he got 9 points. So yeah, Birmingham pleased with that after an opening day defeat at home. But back to action here. Kings Lynn have taken the aggregate. It's going to take a big ask in the last few heats for Oxford to win on the night as well. So that could well be going the way of the Stars as well. The PSH Environmental Stars, no less, this season. It's a mouthful for me. And the Bet Goodwin Oxford Spires. So we're just waiting on Nicolai KLINDT. Here he comes. Coming out for his 4th ride. He'll be hoping to add to his couple of points. So here we go, heat number 12. Colin Perkins Property Maintenance, they are the sponsors in the programme of this heat. Charles Wright, he'll be off the inside in red for Oxford. Next to him, Chris Harris in yellow for Kings Lynn. Luke Killeen blue for Oxford off of gate 3. And Kings Lynn Stars skipper Nicolai KLINDT going off of gate number 4 with the white helmet colour on. 1 minute till the referee pushes the button to lift the tapes. You know, relatively straightforward night for Dave Watters. Couple of the referee, a couple of close runs to the line, and that initial incident with Nicolai and Peter Kildemand, which unfortunately saw Peter drop out of the meeting. Hope he's well. He's okay. Just a precaution. So Nicolai right up against the boards, starting from quite a wide spot there. Trying to get that traction in that run up into the first turn. So here we go, heat number 12. Charles Wright, Luke Killeen, Nicolai KLINDT, Chris Harris, 28.38. Star Marshal walks away. Tapes go up and away we go. Off the inside, looks like Charles Wright's made a beauty. Tight going in amongst the other 3. Into second place comes Chris Harris. Third place at the moment is Nicolai KLINDT. Luke Killeen, what's he got? Can he get up there and challenge Nicolai KLINDT for 3rd place? But keep an eye on the battle out front. Bomber's putting it out there, he's going big. Just can't make that run work like it hasn't, but he's going to carry the speed down. Charles has got to be careful because Bomber will look to go as deep as he possibly can. Charles has got 2 big laps ahead of him here. Chris is working every inch of that track. Charles moves out again and shuts that door, but up the inside, no run there for Bomber. He had a look, he had a go, and that possibly has just scrubbed off the speed going into the last lap, but don't write him off. Charles right out front looking to get a win on the night for the first time. It looks like he's going to get that now. Chris Harris has just dropped away a little bit, but a fantastic battle for 3 laps. Charles Wright with the win, Chris Harris second, Nicolai KLINDT comfortable in 3rd. Luke Killeen put it to him for the first lap or so, but then just dropped away, failing to score in his 3 rides. But Charles Wright with the win, he'll be pleased with that. Again, giving the home crowd something to cheer. Lowers Chris Harris's colours for the first time tonight in this season. Comes round to take the applause. Well done, Charles, good win for him. And again, just confidence boosting moving into the next few meetings. So there's the confirmed result. Charles Wright with the win, Chris Harris with a battle in 2nd, Nicolai KLINDT comfortable 3rd, and Luke Killeen at the back. 3-3, 31.41, 68.94 on aggregate. It's looking like a very positive night for the away side. So here we can see tail of the tapes. Pretty even break going up in there. Charles made a good gate. But Bomber, you just don't know where he's going to put the bike, and wherever there's that bit of dirt, he'll stick his back wheel in it. There's this run here, he goes in deep here. And last season I've seen that work. I've seen that line carry on down that back straight, around that second turn down the back straight, and you can make that stick. It's just not happening there for the guys tonight. So it was another 3rd place for Nicolai KLINDT. So we move swiftly on to heat 13. Heat with the big guns. So here we go, heat number 13. Jamie Lee DJ is the sponsor of this one. Ben Cook on the inside in white. Next to him, Rohan TUNGATE red for the home side. Kvech yellow for Kings Lynn off of gate number 3. And Maciej JANOWSKI unbeaten so far. After Chris Harris, he's now the only unbeaten rider in the meeting. He will be in blue off of the outside for the home side. And Jamie Lee Sound Enterprises, DJ in the centre green, sponsor of heat number 13. Oxford will be hoping that Maciej JANOWSKI can get in amongst it, continue that unbeaten form that he's shown tonight. He's had a couple of really good races, Maciej. Coming up against Ben Cook, always going to be tough coming in for Ben at number 1. And again, we've talked about the makeup of that Kings Lynn side, that, you know, those first set of averages could shuffle this team around completely. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops for them. And Rohan, he's got 4 points from his 3 rides. Remember, he had a fall in his second one. Thankfully, he got up from that. Just span off going into turn 1 and 2 in his second heat. So, always look forward to heat number 13. Story of the big boys. Let's see who comes out on top in this one. Tapes up and away we go. It looks like Ben Cook's made a good run off the inside. Rohan's gone with him. Magic's gone big off a 4. Will he get the ball? Look at Kvech up the inside into second. What a move from him. That inside line off of 2's really working. Can he make it stick? Yeah, he does. Fair play. He's used the inside line on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and he's made it work. Ben Cook, this would be a real big feather in his cap for Ben. He's had a tough night so far. Tough start to the season, but this would be a great heat win. Kvech did all the work on the inside line in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 there to get himself back up on par with the Oxford boys and then move himself into second place. He's looking pretty comfortable. Potentially the most stretched out heat we've had, and it's not even that stretched out really, but it's going to be another 5-1 by the look of it to the away side. Really cementing victory, cementing their place firmly in that next round, which they've already done. Fair play to them. Ben Cook with the win. Kvech second, Maciej JANOWSKI in third, getting beaten for the first time, and Rohan at the back. .32.46. The away side come round to take the plaudits. And the applause from the crowd. There's a little bit of applause from underneath me there. Not a huge amount, as you can understand. So there we go. Ben Cook with the win. Kvech with a great second place. Maciej JANOWSKI third. Rohan TUNGATE fourth. 5-1 to Kings Lynn. Makes the progressive score 32-46 on the night and 69-99. So they're going to topple the 100-point mark over the next 2 heats. And nobody will be going home with a maximum tonight. Some gate stats, yeah, gate 1's really come to the party. Another win there for gate 1. That's the last, 4 heats now? Been 1 off of gate 1. That's the place to be going into the last couple of heats. Home side are going to have it, and then depending on what Rob Line chooses in the last one. Gate 2's been a bit tricky in terms of point scoring across the board. So 2 more heats to go tonight. Congratulations to Kings Lynn. They will move into the next round, take a victory on the night here. Peter Schroeck and his boys can go away, rethink. Losing Peter Kildemand early on. Peter was starting to show some good form at Kings Lynn as the meeting went on. He could have made a difference tonight. We'll never know. So yeah, we are seeing Erik RISS out in the red helmet colour in this one. As we thought, with all the work that he was doing in the pits. Thankfully he's okay after that spill earlier on. So Francis Gusts, good night for him. He'll be in blue off the inside for Oxford. Next to him, Niels, Kristian, Iversen in white. Kings Lynn. Gate 3 in red will be Erik RISS. He comes in for Peter Kildemand. And off the outside will be Ashton BOUGHEN. He gets his 4th ride of the night. He'll be in yellow for the Kings Lynn Stars. So this will give Francis Gusts his full 7 rides this evening. He's taken his full quota. Like we were saying when we opened the show, if any of these reserves really step up, they can be brought in whenever the manager feels fit, up to 7 heats. And by default tonight, that has what has happened for Francis and Oxford, with losing Peter Kildemand, and also with Luke not yet finding his feet. That gave Francis the other ride as well. An ultimate heat, this one. AW Mobs Building Supplies, they are going to be our sponsors. You're going to see Francis Gusts, Erik RISS, Niels Kristian Iversen, Ashton BOUGHEN. Heat 14 of this opening fixture here at the Bet Goodwin Oxford Stadium. Takes up on 14 and away we go, and Niels Kristian's made a great gate. Keep an eye on Erik RISS in red. Just not that traction coming off of 2, but Oxford are packed into 2nd and 3rd with Ashton BOUGHEN at the back at the moment. But Niels Kristian Iversen, well, he's looked quick all night. Niels made a great gate there, stamped his authority on the opening 1st and 2nd turn, and really is just setting sail for home. He's got fresh air, no one's really close enough to bother him. He's enjoying himself out front, looking like the Niels Kristian Iversen of old. He's out front, Erik RISS is in 2nd, Francis Gusts is looking like he's going to take another point tonight. Ashton BOUGHEN working his socks off at the back, just not getting amongst the points with a lap to go. Erik RISS hasn't given up, fair play, he's really putting it to Niels Kristian Iversen. He's just not close enough to land a blow or get himself up there to really threaten. Niels Kristian Iversen with the win, Erik RISS in 2nd, Francis Gusts in 3rd, and Ashton BOUGHEN coming home in 4th place. Another 3 for Niels, 2 for Erik, 1 for Francis, and none for Ashton. 35.49, they top of the 100-point mark on aggregate, as you confirmed. Niels Kristian Iversen with the win, Erik RISS in 2nd, Francis Gusts in 3rd, Ashton BOUGHEN in 4th, 3-3 in heat 14, 35.49, 72 to 102. 3 wins from 4 for Niels Kristian Iversen tonight. So just the decision then for Peter Schroeck to make. Who's going to want to go in it? We're very surprised if we don't see Maciej and Erik. A win and a 2nd in his last 2 out of 3 rides. He did bite the dust in the other one. Okay. That was a gate win off of 2. Just to even it out again a little bit. So pretty even. Inside and outside's done the damage. You can score from anywhere. There's Peter. So thankfully he's good. That's the most important thing. He's up and about. So it's obviously just a precaution. So a quick scan. Who would you pick out of that for 15? We can't use Francis Gusts because he's had his full quota. So yeah, Charles Wright or Erik RISS I think will partner Maciej JANOWSKI. It'll be one of those 2, a combo of those 2 of those 3 I would have imagined. And a bit more tricky for Rob Lyon, with Ben Cook coming to the party in that last one. 9 for Richard Lawson, 11 for Niels, paid 10 for Kvech. I'd imagine, yeah, Bomber. He got beat in his last one. I'm not talking about Chris anymore. Yeah, more of a tricky decision for Rob. There is a yellow helmet colour on Chris's helmet. As soon as we know, you will know. We'll just keep skimming in the pits. See who we can see getting ready. It's obviously Niels Kristian Iversen, former Oxford rider. Well, I say way back when we had the old track, the old promotion before the club closed down. He was rode here as a young man. Trying to wrap my brains. They might have even been the Silver Machine at that point, potentially. I think they possibly were. I'm going to drag that memory back out. I think it was the silver jumpers or silver shirts that they used to wear then. Nigel Wagstaff was the promoter here. So a couple of big wins tonight. Ipswich with a big win, Leicester with a sneaking over the line against Birmingham. Bellevue will be licking their wounds, as will Oxford tonight a little bit. Kings Lynn with a great win. I did hear Chris Harris, I didn't hear he was on one. I had Chris Harris off a 3, I think. Just trying to lip read what Rob was saying there. Charles, let's get the gloves back on. Does that tell us a story? He was a heat winner last time out, 6 points from his 4 rides. Charles, there's a red helmet colour, yeah. I'm going to pencil him in. Charles in red. Chris in yellow, I know that. Has Magic got a blue helmet colour on there? You see his helmet? I didn't even see the helmet, maybe he's packed it away. There we go. There's that blue helmet. There it is. No surprise there. Charles or Erik there would have got the pick. So Charles and Magic. So it's the white helmet colour I need to find. There's Chris. He does get the shout. Coming into 15. You can use one of your reserves when they are in amongst the top scorers. And is that Niels getting himself ready? Wouldn't surprise me. He's been fantastic tonight. Niels Kristian Iversen of old. So I was quite a fan of Niels. He used to come to the Abbey Stadium. Swindon used to throw it in there deep. Always exciting to watch. So there's your lineup. Charles Wright, Maciej JANOWSKI, Niels Kristian Iversen and Chris Harris. Charles on 6 at the moment. Magic, I think, on 9, with a paid 10 in there as well. Niels Kristian Iversen on 11, only dropped 1 point. And Bomber, same story, just a 1 point dropped. So 4 riders, all capable of winning Heat 15. Let's hope they give us a good show to go out on. And again, I can imagine there's a lot of fans out there on social media saying it is only the cup, it don't really matter. The league is what we go for. I imagine that's the line that many will use. A bit like the League Cup in football. If you win it, it's incredible. If you don't, it's just the cup. Ipswich have still got that option of winning it. Unfortunately for Oxford, they don't. So there's Bomber. He's getting himself ready. He's been as entertaining as always. As has Charles. He's done all right tonight, Charles. He'd always want to score more than the 6 that he has. He's never been far off of it. And he will go from the inside in red. Charles Wright for Oxford, 6 points so far. Niels Kristian Iversen in white off of gate 2, 11 points for him. Maciej JANOWSKI 9, paid 10. He'll be in blue off of gate number 3 for Oxford. And Chris Harris 10, paid 11. He will be in yellow. Oh, quick switch. Yeah, obviously Niels Kristian Iversen white off the inside. Charles Wright red off of gate 2. Chris Harris yellow off of gate 3. And Maciej JANOWSKI in blue off of gate 4. That's when you read what you see. You don't look at what you can see. I was actually looking at the track. There we go. We had to get one thing wrong tonight. So Niels Kristian off the inside. Charles Wright off of 2. Chris Harris off of 3. Maciej JANOWSKI in blue off of 4. Row Motor Oil, they are our sponsors in the programme of heat number 15. Here we go. One last showdown to finish off the meeting. Let's see where each one goes. Start Marshall walks away, tapes go up, even break up into the first turn. Whoa, good battle between Niels, Kristian, Iversen and Charles Wright. Round the outside though comes Chris Harris. There's a fight going on amongst each other on the inside, and Chris just snuck around the outside, and he's got that run, he's got himself into second place. When you've got a reserve capable of coming into 15, but that's a great line, 10 out of 10 Charles Wright. Amazing move up the inside of Chris Harris. Carrying loads of speed, Charles. He's moved across the back wheel there, a little bit of Niels, Kristian, Iversen, but keep an eye on Bomber. He's going to want to repay that favour, but that inside line is working so well for Charles Wright. That was a wonderful move, but Bomber's still buzzing all over the back of him. Charles moves a bit wider to stop the run. Niels, Kristian, Iversen out front. He looks like he's going to win the heat. The battle is for second. Charles Wright's really making that inside line work. He's held a really nice line there a couple of times to hold Chris at bay. He's just put it a bit deeper. He's going to hold on to second. Good win for Niels. Good race for second place between Charles Wright, who came out on top, Chris Harris in third in the yellow helmet colour, and Maciej JANOWSKI had the best view of all of us, unfortunately for him, at the back. So an outstanding night for Niels, Kristian, Iversen. Really good race to finish on, with Charles Wright just getting the better of Chris Harris. Phenomenal night, Niels, Kristian, Iversen. Maciej JANOWSKI just tailed off there a little bit at the back end of the meeting. There's a confirmed heat score for 15. Niels, Kristian, Iversen with the win. Charles Wright second with a great battle with Chris Harris, who came third, and Maciej JANOWSKI at the back. It was a 4-2 for the away side. That makes the final score on the night 37-53, and on aggregate 74 to 106. So a resounding win in the end for the away side. 10 out of 10 to them. They deserve that on the night. They deserve that over the two legs, and they'll progress into the next round. And they'll be looking to be up for the cups. Let's quickly run through the scorers for you. Rohan TUNGATE, 4 points from his 4 rides. Erik RISS, 7+1. Bruising encounter for him. Spill in there as well. Charles Wright, again, good end to the night for him with 5 from his last 2, 8 points in total. Peter Kildemand we failed to see after that spill in his first ride. Maciej JANOWSKI started on fire and then just drifted away. 10 paid 10 for him. Francis Gusts, very respectable night for him. He's got paid 10 as well. And again, a tough night for Killeen, who is actually out on track now, just trying a few things, practicing a few things, just to try and dial in a little bit. For the successful Killeen stars, Ben Cook got a win in the end, 5+2 for him. Richard Lawson, really solid win in 3 seconds, 9 points for him from his 4 rides. Nicolai KLINDT, 3 paid 4, would like more, but backed up the rest of the team. Rider of the night for me, Niels, Kristian, Iversen, looked fast, in control, excellent out front, 14 points for him. Kvech, 3 paid wins and third, gives him paid 10 for the night. Chris Harris paid 12 from reserve, and Ashton BOUGHEN with a solid 4+1 at that number 7 rising spot star. So 74, 106. Congratulations, Kings Lynn. Unlucky to the Oxford Spires tonight, but they will live to fight another day in the league, not in the cup. And they're back in action here in the league next Thursday, where they'll take on Ipswich, which you can see with us live on Oxford TV. So thank you very much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. A few great races, not the result Oxford wanted, definitely the result Kings Lynn wanted. If your team won tonight, congratulations. If they didn't, commiserations, and we will see you very soon. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.